Beenleigh. I think Beenleigh, man, just sort of sick love this singing team, mate. So really, I'll tip Beenleigh because they beat Coorparoo first up. But a little bit more experience, Eddie. Jack Grattan, Dylan Reid, Sam Holner. Dean Gavin, 48, Fletcher, Gay Brown, Lewis, Michael Haynes, Casey, Blake, Gay Brown, Gordon Ford, Alex Stibbard. Be going to be the hardest call, mate, for me, I think, too. Morgan. How many do you know from both sides? You know, a few?
Yeah, I've probably seen both teams play about 4 months or 6.
Oh, you've seen it more than me, mate. Yeah. So, at numbers and stuff, you're good with numbers?
Yeah, that'll be the big one. But having him in front, I'll put
yeah, Josh and James. So, old mate Connor you met Connor?
Yep.
Yeah, so he was set up in the guts and we were back here. Mate, that's not going to work. So we just did a little bit of a shuffle. I'm not even sure. Yeah, anyway. You'll be right, mate. Just stick your head around.
just have to call that pocket.
I'll call the pocket, mate. Yeah, that's it. You can handball across. When as it is, I'll call, we're going to sort of go like that anyway. Pass this thing. 31. Morgan. Nathan Morgan. So we're scheduled for about 1:15 exactly, or just we think 1:15 roughly?
Yeah, Coorparoo. Yeah, 12 past.
We'll kick off. Actually, mounts. Yeah. So we'll need to go. Yeah. So we'll probably.
As the siren ends almost.
Probably. We'll probably want to lead in because there's a bit of.
Yeah, is it anthem finishes?
Yeah.
What do you want?
No, I think Baz wanted the anthem in there, so we might.
Oh, it's still the film. It's just.
Oh, the film. Oh, it's commentary coming in, right? We're 2 minutes from the anthem apparently, so. Yeah, that'll be fine. We'll need a 2-minute lead in, mate. Introductions and a little bit of what have you. Depending on the type of games, mate, you don't always get to talk all that history stuff and all that, and particulars, you don't always get a chance to.
I did the W game with Baz earlier in the year, and the score was 76 or something.
Yeah, it was fine. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so you can blurt it all out of the lily, mate, or you can save a bit of it. HART Sports is a HART Sports Cup.
Yes, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the exciting clash this afternoon at Leyshon Park, Yeronga. It's the AFLQ Division 1 Grand Final played between the Coorparoo Kings and the Beenleigh Buffaloes 2022. What an exciting time. The weather is just starting to fine up. I'd like to introduce my fellow commentator this afternoon. I'm Danny Craven, by the way, and my fellow commentator's new to not just Queensland footy, certainly. He's making his debut today, be fair to say. Josh Rhodes, welcome to the commentary, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. Pretty exciting to be here. And as you said, mate, had a little bit of rain this morning and seems to have cleared up somewhat. So, yeah, pretty excited to be on board. Obviously, as Division 1 competition manager, it's been a very, very exciting season and really, really close, particularly through the final series. So it should be an absolute belter. Yeah, no, it should be great, Rhodesy. Of course, Rhodesy, otherwise known as Big Rod, and a few other little adjectives we won't describe just at the moment. But you're new to Queensland, you've enjoyed your time here, as the Div 1 manager said, so it's an exciting day for you, and hopefully we can have a great little call. We've only got 2 minutes to bounce, so we might get straight into it. These two teams have assumed leadership at the end of the day, both on top. In fact, Coorparoo was the dominant side for most of the season, but Beenleigh surprised them somewhat at home. Coorparoo's home in the second semi-final and beat them convincingly by 7 goals on that day. How do you see today unfolding, Rhodesy, in the rematch? Yeah, I think Coorparoo were a bit better for it. They obviously had the week off in that first week of finals, which I sort of thought they were lacking somewhat. It's one of those games that's, I think, perfectly summarised a game of attack and defence, where Beenleigh actually have the most points for in the competition and Coorparoo have the least points against. So super defensive Coorparoo against super attacking Beenleigh should turn out to be a cracker. It looks like it's going to, as you say, the weather's fined up beautifully, and it was quite wet in the reserves game, which incidentally reserve Coorparoo Kings triumphed in that by 3 goals. They beat the mighty Maine Tigers. My team, Rhodesy, was a bit disappointing for them, but they had been flogged by 100 points in the second semi, so to get within 3 goals at the end was pretty good for the Maine Tigers. So just a couple of observations before we kick off here too, Rhodesy. Of course, the no real changes. I think Beenleigh Buffaloes are coming in unchanged pretty much from the second semi, from just looking at the team sheet. 3 changes to the team that got beaten that day for Coorparoo. The 3 incoming from that team are Josh Ferguson, number 26, Alex Stibbard, number 34, and Dylan Reid, the ruckman, number 18. He comes in, and the other 3 fellas that lost their position, unfortunately, Cole Clow, Angus O'Brien, and Todd Capel, who all just played in the reserves premiership a few moments ago. So exciting times for them, albeit not a senior premiership, unfortunately. As our umpires today, Rhodesy, do we know who's taking the field there for us? Yeah, we've got our awesome field umpires: Thomas Gordon, Kai Knight, Trevor Donoghue. Boundaries: Alex Holmes, Josh Watson, and goals: David Wheeler and Michael Green. Beautiful, and we're away, and it's a neutral hit. Well, no one took it out as it hits the ground. Zingelman, beautiful little handball off to Braden Eddy for the Beenleigh Buffaloes. Drives it long in towards centre half forward. Bounces wide. There's a few shaky bits of ground out there with all that rain, as Ryan Burney can't quite wrap up his opponent for Beenleigh. Coorparoo's over it. The umpire's given an early settler, and it's a free kick. It's going to, dropping the ball, free kick by looks, and it's going to go to the Beenleigh Buffs. They've started off nicely after that little neutral bounce moment, and it's the fella in the orange boots. We don't have a number yet, Rhodesy. I reckon we'll pick that up soon enough, as he drives it long inside, drives it long to the square, and spoiled beautifully by the number 13, Dane Watmuff, for the Coorparoo Kings. Yeah. Over to you, Rhodesy. Ex-Labrador player there, Dane Watmuff, so a bit of experience in the Coorparoo Kings team, with looks like Benny Hogan to take the kick out. So looks like he's kicking into the breeze, going along the far side, sends it long up the wing, looks like an out number, and a beautiful hit out. And again, we'll pick up his number, but they look to be moving it sort of laterally, which they did really well against Caloundra last week, as Coorparoo earned another free kick there by Benny Hogan, earning that footy again. Of course, Benny Hogan, the rise of Benny Hogan, played in the SEQ team this year, had a great season off half-back. He drives it across the back flank, which, by the way, guys, watching, the wind is definitely bad. You can see the flags in the background, the blue flags. It's almost a 3 or 4 goal breeze to the left of screen, and certainly to that pocket It was very trying conditions in the reserves game earlier. So you'd expect the team, there you go, you can see the ball zipping back with that breeze. Dylan Reid gets it. It's a bit of a choppy handball. They're jumping on it in the packs here. No one, oh, there's a bit of a head high, but it's a previous free kick to the Buffs. And this one goes to, I reckon it's one of the Morgan brothers, because of that swarthy little appearance there, Rhodesy. The three Morgan brothers playing today for the Buffs. He drives it inside half forward. Buffs can't quite pick it up. As you'd expect, it's pretty tough in there early in the grand final. Good clearance there. Coorparoo, good chain. Great tackle there by Stratford for Beenleigh. Coorparoo trying to come up with it. Morgan again clears it. You'll hear that name a few times this afternoon with three of them out there for the Buffs.
And a holding free kick paid against Beenleigh. So Coorparoo free kick in the defensive half. Been on the back foot a little bit, the Kings, to start.
Well, again, Rhodesy, that earlier game, it was really, you got to take your chances when you kick them with it. It was really tough to kick goals into it and indeed get that front half yardage.
Yeah, and then as they go wide again, they've done that a couple of times here, the Kings, and like I was saying before, against Caloundra in that prelim final last year, it's sort of how they cut them up in the last quarter. Again, we're going long down that far side, and you can see it sit up in the wind, so I dare say it's going to spend a fair bit of time over there with a bit of a scuffle, a couple of tackles, and that'll be a ball up thanks to the umpire.
Okay, and it's been a typical start to a windy grand final. You'd expect both teams to be, testing each other out under the circumstances. Big Rod, as Coorparoo takes it across half back now. A little bit of pressure reliever, goes long. Beenleigh chops in, cuts it off. Nice kick in there.
James with the mark down the middle, looks to go quickly, and a beautiful hit. That couldn't be another Gordon, could it? No, Dominic McEwen. So he looks short. Not enough on it, not enough purchase, but a good contest here between full back and full forward, and well done by the Kings to get it out, but a turnover may prove costly here as the Buffs get it on centre wing and move it to the top of the 50, taken by Braden Eddy, the standing captain.
So Braden Eddy just received it from his brother Declan. There are three Eddies out there this afternoon. Callum Eddy, Declan Eddy, and of course Braden. He's going to shoot now from just outside 50. Fair breeze at his back though, so he gets a chance to get the distance, and sort of does, but it floats across the front face of goal, and that's where the wind is really blowing, folks. Those watching on our live stream service today through AFLQ and HART Sports. And who's the crowd that the live stream's provided by, Rhodesy?
So Double Take is our live stream partner.
That's a Double Take crew, and they're doing a fantastic job with Connor in the box at the moment, beautifully taking the vision. It comes back out across to the commentary wing beautifully. Coorparoo, Lamb falls over, off to Shea. He's got some wheels, this boy, if he can get away. And he's wrapped up beautifully and in fact ran too far, according to the umpire. And Dom McEwen, one of the few three-pointers playing for Beenleigh today, kicks it inside 50, and it's a nice little mark. I'm going, that's a Morgan because of that swarthy, bearded appearance, Rage. We just go, the Morgans, I think they're 41, 47, 48 is the numbers, and it's a unique story. Three Eddy brothers, three Morgan brothers, and he's going to have a shot from about 45 with a bit of breeze, comes across the front, registers just the first behind, indeed the first behind for the AFLQ Div 1 Grand Final. 5 minutes 26 in, and it's one behind to the Beenleigh Buffs, leading the Coorparoo Kings, Rhodesy.
Looks like Benny Hogan's rolling the dice here and going the other side, and he hits beautifully to Dane Watmouth. Takes a lovely mark across half back and looks to play on immediately. Again, long down that centre wing, looks at Matty Suckling, who's in a one-on-one contest. Umpire pays holding, free kick to Beenleigh's Nicholas Tronk. Goes inside to Sauce Good, who has kicked an absolute mongrel down the far side, but it's actually going to bounce up okay for Zingelman, who's out there with a bit of the bleach blonde hair sort of style there, Danny.
Well, Zingelman, if you can say that, he has got a green helmet on his head too, Rhodesy, so I suppose that might add to some of the flavour that you're picking up. But he's had a great year too, the Zingerberger, as they call him, and I'd expect to see him zipping up and down that far wing this afternoon as the ball. I think this might be Brody. No, it's not Brody Murdoch. It's one of the big ruckmen, James.
Yeah.
Big Jamesy, sorry about that, Brody. And sorry to you, George, as well, for possibly thinking you were him. As he kicks it long across the wing there, and Shea Coranda for the Coorparoo Kings can't quite complete the mark. We're going to have a boundary throw in around about 30 around from the Buffs goals. It's been all Buffs in the opening 6 to 7 minutes, and they've started well, but like the reserves game, they haven't really scored whilst they've had the opportunity at the moment going forward. It gets quickly kicked there by Gavin for Coorparoo. He's found one of the incoming boys today, Alex Stibbard, his first grand final, of course, out to Shea Coranda. He's another youngster. Got a set of wheels on him, as you'll see this afternoon, I'm sure. Up, drives it long up into the wing, looking for a couple of blokes. It's an early acceptor there in Campbell Lewis, trying to fly over the back. He's given away the free kick for the Kings, and it's going to go to the big ruckman, young Geordie Stratford. Rhodesy.
Yeah, and again, you look at that long penetrating kick from the big ruckman. He's just looking for those boys, and a big fly there from Cal Eddy. As you said and alluded to before, one of the Eddy brothers, bit of a Cartoon Network sort of Ed and Eddie style even.
Yeah, well, it is too, mate. They've got a unique story, the Eddy brothers, and in fact coached by the senior coach is Damien Eddy, their father. So it's a real Eddy story down at Beenleigh in 2022. So the ball comes in, it's fiercely fought. Beenleigh really driving forward, but at the moment Coorparoo holding up pretty well in the conditions. How do you see the opening 8 minutes, Rhodesy?
I don't think it could get much even than this. I think it's a testament to what we spoke about before, the ultra-attacking Beenleigh, the ultra-defensive Coorparoo, where it's sat in Beenleigh's forward 50 most of the time, but they just can't convert. And to Beenleigh's, to Coorparoo's nod, they've done well to get it out, but just can't penetrate past halfway. So.
Again, taking a leaf in the previous game was a bit wetter, but it was low scoring. It was in the end, it was 6 goals to 4 was the total for the day, just to give you an indication. And both sides, when they had this front half, this left side of the screen, it was still difficult to score, even with that breeze. And you really, it's a game of inches. You're going to have to make the most of each of your moments. As Declan Eddy strides in from 40, has a shot. It looks like it's almost holding. No, it hits the post in what was a nice looking kick off the boot, but just drifted with that breeze at the last minute. It's another behind. Beenleigh Buffs have gone now to 3 behinds, leading the Kings to a 0 score at this point. As it goes up, there's a couple of flyers, and it's punched over the line. 60 out from the Buffs goal line there. Rhodesy?
Bit of a win to the Kings there, I think, as they've sort of gone out to the wings, obviously, both times, but haven't managed to get a real boundary throw in. So they'll get a chance to reset here. And as you can see here, you've got number 6, Ben Hogan, playing that floater at the back. So hopefully they'll be looking to go through and deep up the wing as they just hacking it forward. As you say, Danny, it's a game of inches here as it's held up once again, fighting very, very hard by number 41, Nathan Morgan, to get that out. But it's ultimately the umpire says, that'll be mine. As we ball up once more and they go for it. A bit of fair leap there by young Christian Lamb as they Kings come through the middle. Umpire says incorrect disposal. That'll be a throw. And free kick goes Buffalo's way.
So Coombs drives it long inside 50. Coombs played really well in the second semi just a couple of weeks ago across half-back. Drives it out now. Coorparoo clearing. Defending nicely at the moment. 16 now in Lucas Bell. Gives it. Handball across. Comes out, back out to Bell. He drives it inside 50 again. The Buffs another inside 50, but it's Coorparoo with the numbers, as it looked like big Josh James caught one that probably wasn't warranted. The umpire said, no, it's a grand final, son. You're going to have to earn them today. And it's come over the boundary line again. 25 around from the Buffs goal on the far flank. And again, Rhodesy, it's probably 10 inside. We don't have the official stats in front of us this afternoon. We don't quite get that. I'm sure next year in your time on the job, mate, there'll be stats left, right and centre for the commentary team. But on this occasion, the Buffs, 10 inside 50s probably to, I don't think Coorparoo's entered yet. So,
no.
We're 10 minutes in.
We've got the experienced Dan Gavin with ball in hand, which is always dangerous for opposition coaches. So he calls them to come a bit shorter, which is probably not a bad idea, give it on that far wing. But once again, roosts it up for number 11. Who's that? Of course, Jake Edwards, our leading goal kicker. Obviously, equal total of 44 with Brodie Murdoch, who's also running around out there. So I'd say battle of the spearheads, but Murdoch's done it out of the guts. So it still should be a fair shape with Coranda running out the middle as he does. He's put it on the afterburners and sends it into for Coorparoo's first inside 50. Ben Hogan picks up, snaps around the corner. Long way from home for Hogan, but it's a sausage roll, and he likes it. Coorparoo registered the first goal of the game. Beenleigh 0-3-3, Coorparoo 1-0-6. And without having the stats here, Chipper, I'd say that that's a 100% conversion rate for Coorparoo going inside 50.
Yeah, it's good on the KPIs, mate. 1 from 1. And how often do you see this in games of footy? Hard slogs, low-scoring afternoons. One team dominates a large amount of possession and forward half entries, and then the other team on one occasion enters and scores like that. That was nice and clean. Of course, Ben Hogan coming up off his half-back flank. So it's a real bonus for Coorparoo. It's a real bonus for Ben Hogan that the first goal scored against the trend, against the flow, and they sort of need it given how it's transpired early in terms of play. But here they go. It's lifted them. It's Dylan, the big Reedy down to Casey. Casey drove it forward, a little bit wide really for direct entry, but it comes out. They've got the front half. It's another forward 50 entry there, but Beenleigh up to the task across half back at this point. Kumis across to their big Georgie. Georgie James is the ruckman there. He couldn't quite clasp it. Brody Murdoch in there. I don't think Brody's touched it too much despite the Buffs' dominance early.
No, they've run with him pretty well. And to be honest, it should be a day that suits him. He's obviously a big body around there and flashy red boots that I don't think I could pull off, mate. But, yeah, you're right. He has been quiet thus far.
Rhodesy, that's sort of like one of those juxtapositions, mate, because if you saying you couldn't pull off those sort of boots, mate, from what I've seen of you, you are an orange boot player every day of the week. As it comes down now, Braden Eddy. Oh, he's just run over at Rory Lake. A couple of players there who are really good midfielders in the competition. Of course, Rory Lake has captained and coached this team previously, won premierships and been a stalwart of the competition. In fact, today might even be his last game of footy. I'm hearing a whisper as it's driven forward here, though. Callum Eddy takes it. It's a beautiful mark. It's a beautiful directed kick into the hot spot. No one can take it. Over the back, Ryan Burney for Buffs. Goes in hard. There's another Morgan. Goes in. Can't quite take it. Can't quite catch the Kings player. It might have been Christian Lamb who just knocked it over the boundary line. Inside the Buffs 50-metre zone. And, yeah, just going back to Rhodesy, there's three blokes with league experience out there today, I believe.
Yeah, we've called Suckling's name a couple of times. I've looked for him going forward. So as Murdoch ducks it over his shoulder and kicks it higher than he does far, but Josh James is under the fall of the ball, uses his body well to keep it in play. Coorparoo punched over the line. Yeah, so we've actually got, obviously, Matty Suckling, who won a premiership with Hawthorn and played a number of games with the Western Bulldogs also.
So he's playing with Coorparoo today, the number 2, if you're looking at it, the blue and green, the white jumpers for those live streaming. He's the number 2, playing across a bit of half-back for Coorparoo, and he's, as you say, Rosie, a 100-plus gamer and premiership player for the Bulldogs. Previous. Who are the others, mate, we've got?
And we've actually, we mentioned them before, the leading goal kickers joint, obviously medalist for this year, was Jake Edwards of Coorparoo, who played a handful of games for Carlton, and Brody Murdoch for Beenleigh, number 7, who ended up playing for St Kilda.
Yep, 5 games, I think Brody played down there. He's been a very good player, playing with Southport as well in the VFL, and ending up at Beenleigh inadvertently last year, and he's been very good for them. Jake Edwards, of course, for Coorparoo in the white jumpers, number 11, and he's the son of Alan Butch Edwards from yesteryear, former Bulldog, Collingwood great, number 8. I think he might have worn back in then when I was following the Pies as a youngster. And so 3 players on the ground with AFL, VFL experience, and of course a range of very talented footballers surrounding those as we'll work through this afternoon, Rhodesy, I'm sure, as we get little stoppages like these, as it's bounced down, out 50 out from the Buffs. And in fact, the umpire's pulled out a free kick. It goes to the big George James, number 11, in what's a perceived advantage for the Buffs with 2 ruckmen, big number 11 and 56 Stratford, are both a bit of a double team there as Callum Eddy comes out. When he gets going, he's a little dynamo. He's been rewarded a free kick.
Little tug of the jumper there, and the umpire's seen it, and that's, I suppose, the beauty of the 3-umpire system here is you can't get away with tugging those jumpers behind. You've got to be a bit, as a defender, you've got to play a bit smarter and use your body a bit more rather than trying to get away with the cheapie. So, well rewarded there. He did have a fair hold.
It's a good thing with our game in some ways. The purists don't like it. The defender purists don't like it, of course, Rhodesy, with people getting a jumper tug, getting free kicks all the time. But I guess it does open today's footy up as Cal Eddy's going to shoot from about 45 out. He's generally a dead-eye dick kicking for goal. Of course, I've given him a commentator's curse, have I? No, we certainly haven't. And Callum Eddy, a magnificent kick from 45 out on a 45-degree angle, kicks the Buffs' first goal in the 2022 HART Sport Div 1 Grand Final at 16 and a half minutes into the first quarter, and the Buffs, they go to 1 goal 4-10, leading Coorparoo just the one straight goal. In fact, just the one straight entry inside 50 indeed for them. And a terrific little opening moment there for Callum Eddy.
Yeah, good steadier there for Beenleigh, and I think a bit of a reward for effort. As you said, 1 goal's 4, and they've had a number of inside 50s and a number of chances, so to actually capitalise and get one there will sort of settle the nerves a little bit for the relatively inexperienced Buffs come September.
So it comes down now. Brodie Murdoch, perhaps his first kick, if he hasn't had one, my apologies. He's gone out. Hakeem Kennedy drives it, the ex-Springwood junior. Drives it down inside 50 now. Oh, well, that fella's slippery. We'll find out who he is in a moment. It's number 6, Declan Eddy. Part of the family drives it across the front of goal. I didn't quite catch that player that just slipped that ball to Declan Eddy there, Rhodes. If we can get a handle on him, but he was pretty slippery. They do have a lot of underrated players. The Beenleigh Buffs this year have got under everyone's guard a bit. They've slipped along in second, third spot underneath the Kings, who've probably led the pack. But they have got some real talent as it comes down now. Ryan Burney, he's one of them, a former great junior. Had a year or two out of the game, but has got talent to burn. And he can pop up and kick 3 or 4 goals this afternoon. He's got that much talent. And some great stories amongst the Beenleigh Buffs, and we'll hopefully get an opportunity to share some of that this afternoon as it comes down out to the ruckman. It's James and someone from
Michael Casey.
Casey, thank you. The ruck rover's gone up in the ruck for Coorparoo. And it comes down now. Eddy again, getting plenty of the footy. Murdoch, they wanted it in his hands, the Sabo. Down again there to Callum Eddy. He's wrapped up. Brodie Murdoch bursts through. And it's just the rush behind. Callum Eddy down just behind play a bit. Copped a nice one to the ribs. Hopefully he's okay, because he's going to be pretty important this afternoon, Rhodesy.
Absolutely, and had big Sam Holner tackle him, the co-captain at Coorparoo, who is not a small man, so he'd definitely be feeling that one as it Beenleigh spoil the mark up on the wing and send it back. Beautiful smother there by the Kings to put it out of play with a boundary throw in over the far side. So looks like Eddy's getting a little bit of medical attention there. The trainer's just checking up on him, seeing how he's going. And, between him and his brothers, they've been pretty influential thus far. So they'll certainly want to make sure he's okay to keep going through. But it looks like he's back up and about, which is what we love to see. And heading straight back to his man, Joshy Lake there, and no doubt pop up again.
Yeah, so the Eddies, like rightly pointed out, that we've called all 3 Eddies. Braden, 17 in the middle, and Declan also 6 in the middle. They both had a bit of it early, and Callum, of course, has kicked the only goal as it comes down now. Now it's another one of the Morgan brothers. I think that's Daniel Morgan, number 48. Actually, it's Luke Morgan, apologies. Luke Morgan sat out the game for the last 5 or 6 years too, Rhodes. He hasn't played a lot of footy, but he's come back to join his brothers and playing in a grand final this afternoon. Sean Goods comes through for the Buffs, and in fact it's going to go back to Sean Goods, who was treated a bit unseemly on the way through there. Is he going to bomb it long from 60? It's a ripping looking kick from 60 metres, just spoiled on the line, in fact in the end by the ruckman James and a couple of the Coorparoo opponents there. And it's another behind, the 6 behind, 1 goal 6-12. Buffs are leading 1 straight kick Coorparoo. It's been all the Buffs, but they probably need a bit more reward for effort. Shocking kick coming out. Luke Morgan wraps it up. He's wrapped up by the Kings and drops, unfortunately, the footy, and Sam Holner will take the resultant free kick. He goes goes wide with the handball. Dean Gavin, been a real revelation for Coorparoo this year. Had a great season in the midfield. Comes down to another Morgan there. Again, apologies. No, it's not. It's a Joel Kumis on this occasion. Now to Aidan Duncan. Another one of the brothers.
And a good shape to Brodie Murdoch, who's keeping his feet. And a bit of a head clash there as a bit of friendly fire on the wing. The umpire's played in danger as play on is to Beenleigh.
Gee.
Here goes to George James again, who's been okay. And they've been looking for the big fellas up there, which is good. But they've been a bit of that jumper tugging, which is not great as Brodie Murdoch remains down on the sideline.
Yeah, not good. He's gone in head first and he's copped some form of head knock, and he's currently. It's a goal to the Buffs while we're talking. And it's your big fella, Rhodesy, the big ruckman we were just talking about, Big James, I reckon.
Yep, Georgie James.
Georgie James. If it's not him, it's Josh James right alongside him. Let's see where the players go to here to see who kicked the goal.
Joshy.
It's it's Georgie James. The ruckman, I reckon's kicked it. Anyway, we'll work that one out as the day goes on. I reckon it might be the big fella, but look, in the meantime, folks, right in front of us in the commentary on the wing, Brodie Murdoch is still down. The former St Kilda superstar player for Beenleigh Buffaloes. It's 20 minutes into the first quarter. This is a tragic situation at the moment for the Buffs. If this young man, and in fact, we just need him to get up because he's just laying there at the moment and not in the best of nick.
Yeah, it's quite concerning, and you just hate seeing it no matter the player. But a fair bit of concern there from the trainers as he's looks to be moving. But yeah, a bit of friendly fire, which wasn't a great one, but just head over the footy. And unfortunately, it just sometimes happen, as is with the game.
Well, it's if it doesn't look great, and because it's the head involved right here, Rhodesy, it's not good. Not good for the game, but it's not good for Beenleigh Buffs and Brodie Murdoch for that matter. He's looking okay, looking a bit better at the moment. He's walking off unaided, which is great news, but, gee, you can't help but think ahead as to what impact that might have on the rest of this game if he can't return.
And it's real conditions for him. He just doesn't go to ground. He keeps his feet so strong through the core. So no doubt they'll be having a concussion test there on the bench, and hopefully he gets the green light from the medicos.
Yeah. As it comes out now, Coorparoo, Dylan Reid with a strong knock onto Fletcher. Gai Brown, the youngster, in for his first grand final, of course, too. It's coming back out, though. The Buffs are holding up nicely in defence here, but it is tough work, of course. As it comes back out, it's almost taken there by Braden Eddy. Couldn't quite take it. Coorparoo, we haven't called them a lot this afternoon. They haven't had, in fairness, half the possession that Beenleigh have had. So we really, Rhodesy, we need them to get the footy so we can start training up on the numbers, mate. Of course, Fletcher Brown, Gai Brown again, with a little whack of the football. Daniel Haynes with a nice little tackle, goes over the boundary line, out of bounds. And Coorparoo with their first real opportunity this afternoon inside 50. The wind just dropped us just a tad, and at 24-minute mark of the first quarter, trailing by a couple of goals, they'd be looking to see if they can put some score on the board here, Rhodesy.
Yeah, absolutely. You've had Dean Gavin, who was sitting out the back and streamed through. The ruckman looked for him, but someone manned him up as they look for another repeat stoppage. Interesting to see how they'll set up behind the play here with, as you said, mate, Cooper is another very big opportunity here as balls it high up in the air and the ruckmen fly for it, but a big one over the top as it's overrun by the Beenleigh players, unfortunately. A big hack off the ground, goes okay, but it's a turnover to the wing. Dangerous spot to kick it, smothered by big Joshy James, but Coorparoo again have the numbers there, an overlap run as he looks to lower his eyes. No way, looking for Edwards. Free kick paid. What was that one for, Chipper?
I just missed that one, mate. I think it was a bit of holding behind play, bit of argy-bargy, but it's going to go to Coorparoo and it's going to go to Shale Coranda. Apologies. He's been part of the SQ program for the last few years. Made his debut this year against North Queensland, and been a revelation for Coorparoo this year. Had an outstanding year on the wing, and I guess his nickname / whatever is more Shay than Shale, but Shale's the official name as he goes back and he's going to kick it. He's going to kick a goal. Is Shea Coranda? Nice. It's through from 45 out. He's got some big wheels. He's got some big, strong legs on him, that young man, and not necessarily noted for his kicking accuracy necessarily, but that was a great kick and a really timely goal for the Coorparoo Kings team. Really was. In a game where really they've been inside 53 times for the quarter and they've kicked 2 goals straight, and Shea has just posed a little problem there for the Beenleigh Buffs. Of course, with their talisman in Brodie Murdoch. He's not captain, but he sort of may as well be. Braden Eddy's the captain for Beenleigh Buffaloes, but Brodie Murdoch now off the ground.
Yeah, a bit of the walking wounded Beenleigh, actually. They've gone through 2 captains this year, so had Yeah, well, we've had John Duncan went down early with, I believe, a knee sort of mid-season as Coorparoo looked to go it out that far side again. Looks to be a pretty tight contest through, but well, composure by Zingelman with a big long kick, and sometimes that's all you need, but he's dumped late, just unnecessary as the umpires paid downfield for the Buffaloes.
Yeah, you're just talking about the captains, mate. John Duncan did the ACL, and of course Declan Good, who assumed that broke his foot.
Yep, at training on the
couple
Thursday.
of weeks ago.
Yeah, real, your heart breaks for him. Acting captain as he was the vice on the Thursday before the second final. I was having a chat to him the other week actually, and quite innocuous. Just stood back to take a mark. It's a beautiful mark there taken by Lucas Bell. But yeah, just stood back at a cone, and it felt a pop in his foot. Turns out he's broken a bone in there, so he'll be no doubt there cheering the Buffs on. Yeah,
absolutely. No, it's a tragic situation for them as the ball goes inside and over the line again. It's a 7th behind for the Beenleigh Buffs. 2 goals, 7-19. They lead the Coorparoo Kings 2 goals straight, 12. It's been all the Buffs, but by gee, it's not enough of a buffer, as they say, Rhodesy. For them, you would think, given their advantage they've had in this quarter, kicking with what's at least a 3 to 4 goal breeze as the ball comes across now. Driven out there by the Kings, across the half-back flank. That's a bit of almost a throw. Zingelman takes the footy, but he is wrapped up quickly.
By Gavin, he's been instrumental for Coorparoo. He's been very, very good.
He has been very good as Dean Gavin, the journeyman. He's been up had a year at the North Queensland outfit there in the Cairns Saints. As he comes down now, Coorparoo just needs something. They've driven it forward here through Ratton. Comes forward now. It's wrapped up by that Lucas Bell fella again, across there to 39, which is David Stray, who's become a good defender for the Buffs throughout the season. And they've just managed to wrap this, or stop that forward 50 entry. Braden Eddy on the left. He just kicks it long and wide across that half-forward flank.
Josh James does well to present there. He's kicked a few goals this year. As Zingelman again patrolling that wing, looks to own it, but pushed a little bit too far, maybe taken over by the wind, out of reach of one of the Eddy brothers there. So they'll get another opportunity as the umpires will throw it in from the forward pocket. But just building on what you were talking about before there, Chipper, no doubt, obviously without putting words in their mouth at the quarter-time huddle, the Beenleigh outfit might not be happy with the conversion of 2 goals 7. Really haven't taken the opportunities of this wing, as we can obviously still see the flags over that far side. They are creating a little bit of a headache trying to come out of it. So, but Cooper have repelled them so well. As we again, deep kick out, and the umpire has played deliberate out of bounds.
Oh, gee. I thought that was a bit... I'm not sure that looked that deliberate. It was just a clearing kick out of defence. But anyway, the umpire certainly all over that. Is the Zinger Burger. He's had a bright opening, Rhodesy, it's fair to say, as he drives it long inside 50 into the hot spot there. Big spoil there over the top by Watmouth. Beautiful spoil. Sam Hickey wraps up on the left foot. Nice kick from him. Drives back out here. No, it's Ryan Burney now, the will of the wisp forward. He can't quite get clear of the congestion, and the ball umpire says he's popped out a free kick here, and it's going to go to a big fella. I just don't know which big fella it is, Rhodesy. I don't know if you can quite grab the...
No, they've got some tall timber out there,
it's a big unit, but we'll call him in due course. As he comes in, he's going to bang it from 49. Surely he can't kick it from that sort of distance. Maybe he can, as James can't quite grab it in the square. It's rustled over the boundary line by the Kings. The Coorparoo Kings, the Treasury Kings, as I once known Rhodesy back in the day. I've been reliably informed. That's back in before you and I were born. Well, it may not have been back that far, but maybe you weren't born, but I was possibly getting around. As it comes back in now, and Christian Lamb, who's a real versatile player, can play everywhere. Comes back down, though, this time to Cooper Lang, and he snaps and scores it behind.
Yeah, a little bit of an outswinger there. I think that's called at third slip, so it's going to push out and out in the full. Benny Hogan's doing a lot of the kick-outs, and he's going to have the free kick, which, again, looks like Stibbard, the big red nut up on the half back line, sorry. They're going to go long to him. He's presented a pretty good option all day. Brings it to ground, and well done by Gavin, as we've called his name a couple of times. A bit of experience here in Matty Suckling and Rory Lake, but as Beenleigh clean it up, and they look to get it out as they're just hacking it forward here. Once again, hack it forward, but Coorparoo have done well to set up behind the play, and as they overrun it is Hogan, and Ryan Burney takes him high, gives away a free kick. It's going to be one of those days too, Chipper, who's, once you slip over, and unfortunately a couple of high tackles, but Coorparoo get another steadier in that back pocket. commentary side.
Conditions are largely good in terms of, at least there's no rain, but there is that fluky wind and the ground is greasy underneath with those wet patches. So gets driven up on the wing now. Good little roving work there by Haynes for Coorparoo. Can't quite clasp it. Beenleigh do have had the numbers as they've had all quarter. Comes up there. Oh, Nick Tronk unceremoniously dumped by Dean Gavin. No free kick under one of the Morgans. Dom McEwen now. Oh, he's wrapped up. Beautiful tackle by the captain.
Huge tackle there by
Captain
Rory
Courageous,
Lake.
Rory Lake, and the players come in and they're flying the flag as Lamb and another young fella, Hickey there, have a crack at young Joel Cumis as Rory Lake belts up. Now that's a beautiful, hasn't had a lot of it early, Rory Lake, but that was a real inspirational bit of work there from him as it comes back out now. Morgan flicks it just to anybody. Hickey gets it. Was probably tackled when he didn't quite have possession, but it's a grand final, folks, and the umpire says, give it to me. Right in front of our central commentary position at Leyshon Park, AFLQ Yeronga. Folks, we're bringing it live on September the 3rd, Saturday, 2022. And we've got the big Rod right beside me, and he's on fire making his debut in the commentary box.
And Coorparoo looking to go for another inside 50 there, but paddled over the line. Could be some holding behind the play. The umpire says, no, thank you, we're going to throw that one in. Good to see the umpires putting the whistle in the back pocket there for the most part, as you see, mate. Grand final day. It's a beautiful day. The sun's coming out. There's a little bit of blue sky out there, and it's an absolute cracker for our Division 1 QFA HART Sport Cup Senior Grand Final.
And, Rhodes, because you can't see around the box there, mate, I'll call this little bit as Morgan. One of the Morgans, of course, this is Daniel Morgan. Couldn't quite clasp it. Comes out now to Haynes, a busy little Haynes, the boy from, I think he might be from, I might call it, I can't remember. Dean Gavin gets it on the left foot, drives it forward, but the siren goes to signal the end of the first quarter, and the score is the Beenleigh Buffaloes, a 2-7-19 leading the Coorparoo Kings, 2 goals straight, 12. It's been an exciting, enticing quarter, Rhodes. It's been a pleasure so far to call with you on this afternoon, and we look forward to more after the break, and it looks like it's going to be a ripping finish to this game.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit of feeling in that, and I love it. A little bit of push and shove down here. Even young 19-year-old Sam Hickey giving it a little bit out of his weight class, but you don't mind seeing a little bit of fight in the dog. A 33-minute quarter probably speaks to the conditions a fair bit, and obviously 2-7 there for Beenleigh, so the timekeeper's going to have carpal tunnel of the thumb by the end of the day, but plenty of opportunity for both sides here. And what do you think both coaches are saying here?
Oh, look, I think there's no doubt the Buffs will be really happy with how they've started, no doubt. He won't sort of mention too much about the inefficiency in going forward, because there's no point putting too many negatives in your team's mind when they're up and about. Brodie Murdoch, I see, is actually looking at the board. He's going to be trying to get back on no matter what, and I tell you what, he'll be doing his best to answer whatever that concussion testing stuff is. So hopefully for them, he gets back on the field. And for Coorparoo, look, they'd be really happy in the fact that they were played all over early. They withstood and defended grandly. It was a great effort. And then they kicked those couple of late goals with only those 2 or 3 entries. It was a great effort. And they started to get back into the game a bit. So they're alive. The good thing with them is they've got a lot more improvement in them. And they're just 7 points down. I think that's the key for them. Anyway, we'll see you after the break, folks, and look forward to it. Yes, and welcome back to Leyshon Park, folks. Quick little break. Coaches were in there motivating their teams at quarter time in the grand final, Div 1. And it's a 7-point difference. Beenleigh Buffaloes 2-7-19, Coorparoo 2 straight 12. Buffs could have been arguably 3 to 4 goals up at quarter time had they taken all their opportunities. They had plenty of foot in the front half, probably 80% of the play in their front half of the ground. Kings had 2 goals from their 3 entries up to the 20-minute mark, probably entered a few more times after that, and started to get some flow in the game. Brodie Murdoch, of course, the spiritual captain of Beenleigh in some ways, in terms of playing ability, certainly. He went down with a head knock. Is he back out?
He is there, starting in the guts there, Chip,
He's
which
back
is
out.
awesome to see.
Great news for the Beenleigh Buffalo folks and football followers in general. He's back out in the ground after a little bit of a head knock in that quarter. As the ball comes down now, it's a neutral play. Zingerman almost takes it, gives it off now. Coorparoo, Sam Hickey through the edge. He's a good young fella. Is Hickey, gives it off there. Ben Hogan just drives it up onto the wing. No one can quite take it. Coorparoo has it though. They're driving it forward again. And it comes down to Matt Suckling. Haven't seen a lot of him so far, the former Bulldog Premiership player, AFL that is. He drives it, now it's gone forward. Oh, it's a tap down inadvertently to Coorparoo. And he's had a shot on goal, the young man. We clearly didn't kick it because that end of the ground is where all the Coorparoo supporters are, Rhodesy, and they would have just gone off if that had gone through. In fact, I think it was Jack Ratton who can kick a goal, taking that one there. As the ball comes out, cross half back, mark taken by the Buffs. They've been pretty steady in defence today, although they have leaked those couple of goals in that first quarter from those early entries, but it wasn't really necessarily because they weren't having a crack, of course. As it comes back now, Coorparoo King inside 50, hot spot.
Oh,
Big
swallowed by
Stibbard.
Edwards. Swallowed.
Jakey Edwards, take over from here, Rhodesy.
Yeah, as we alluded to earlier, he's obviously he'd lead goal kicker for the competition with Brodie Murdoch, and just got sticky mitts. He kicked a number of goals last week. Even against the Buffs earlier. He's been absolutely instrumental, and they just kick it anywhere near him, and he usually swallows it. He's got such sticky hands. So he kicked 6 against Caloundra and last week and almost put the nail in the coffin. But I back him from here as a commentator's curse. As the goal umpire does not move, head straight up in the air, and we'll see a signal for the first goal of the second quarter to the Kings.
So the Kings kick the first, an important first, and they're one entry and they've done it again. Their efficiency is fantastic, and this is something about the Kings. They can do it. They can kick quick goals in a row. They've been on top of the ladder all year for a reason, and it's now just a 1-point ball game. And of course, Jake Edwards, Rhodesy, he's a 4-point player. Coorparoo today have got 9 players with over 1 point. They've recruited well, and using all 45 of their 45 points. Beenleigh just the 32 of their 45 points, and you'll see that experience coming out as the game goes on. Coorparoo will never be out of this game as it comes back down with a nice driving handball. Braden Eddy overruns what he should have taken. Big Lucas is Georgie James is taken down, and umpire says give it to me. Just back to Jake Edwards. He's 34, played at Melton. His son of Butch Edwards played 20 games at Carlton, played at Port Melbourne, and was on Married at First Sight. There's a quick little 5-second wrap of Jake Edwards, the full forward, number 11 for Coorparoo. Rhodesy, it comes back down now. Matt Suckling, it's a good little hands over to Shea Caranda. That's going to go through, I reckon. It's just missed it to the far side. Shea Caranda. Coorparoo coming, folks. If you're a Coorparoo supporter, you're liking the signs now. They go to 3-2-20. They're leading Beenleigh 2-7-19. And it's been all Coorparoo early as Sean Good brings it in from fullback, looking for his teammate there, Nick Chonk. And Hogan takes an intercept mark, the half-backer. He's already kicked a goal. He drives it now inside 50. It's not a bad-looking kick. Spoilt there by the Beenleigh defender. Can't quite see who it is. Coorparoo, they're coming. They found an extra gear. Is that Rory Lake on the left foot?
Looking Suckling good. On the left.
There's Suckling on the left.
Pushing across the face for a throw-in. Not a bad result for the Kings here, but they're just a bit slow to react, the Buffs. It's been, again, sort of the story of Coorparoo in the first quarter where they've got it to their half-back line and it's been a turnover, but Coorparoo have moved it so quickly and just caught the Buffaloes on the back foot. So it'd be interesting to see kind of how they set up and if they're willing to counter-attack as a rolling maul, as it were, as we're breaking away here. Buffs actually get a run on for the first time all day. Scattered it across here to, is that Bernie? Yep.
Bernie.
Yep. So it's a 3-on-1 here, but Bernie's going to use his foot speed as... All right, I'll hand that one over to you.
He's still battling away. It's 4-on-1 now. He's finally buffeted over the boundary. Not much of Ryan Bernie, but it was a great effort from him as Ollie Arklay for Kings, the wingman, drives it long. He's found his target there in Rory Lake as Rhodesy, a big wind gust, has blown your commentary seats to oblivion pretty much as Lake goes inside 50 and finds Jack Ratton. A great kick from the skipper, and well, in the actual fact, he's not the skipper. Campbell Lewis is the skipper, but my apologies, but he's the former captain coach of the club. So he's pretty much the skipper in what may well be his swan song today, particularly, well, whether they win or lose, I'm led to believe. But a great kick from him, number 5. He found his teammate in Jack Ratton, who's a noted goal kicker when he plays forward for Coorparoo, has played elsewhere. He's going to kick it here from 40 metres on the right foot. He leans back. He looks excited about that one, folks. And so he should be. It's straight through the middle. And the Coorparoo Kings, the Kings of efficiency this afternoon indeed, because they've kicked their 4th. And they go to 4-26, leading Beenleigh Buffs 2-7-19. And by gee, it's a different Coorparoo this quarter with the wind at their backs. 5-6 minutes in. Gee, Beenleigh Buffs, you know, you speak about not making the most of your chances. Well, the Kings are certainly doing that now, Rhodesy.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's, you know, as we spoke about before, they've had that quick counter-attack all day, the Kings. And now with the wind over their shoulder, it's obviously going into their favour. And I think Beenleigh are ruining the chances of their 2-goal 7 in that first quarter. But winning it a lot out of the midfield as they're balling it up. Josh James and again Murdoch looking good around the contest. Good to see him back out there as it runs to Coorparoo's half-forward line. Suckling with a beautiful pick-up one-hand to Rory Lake. Smothered off the boot. And it's a big, big fight on half-back for the Beenleigh Buffaloes. The big ruckman goes inside. Beautiful handball using their width, but no options as it scatters over to the wing here. Look to have a little bit of space. And a fair contest and a good bunt. Beenleigh with the outnumber, but a bit of composure and goes long to half-forward.
Braden Eddy drives it long, can't quite take it the Buffs there. It's a good, beautiful battle there by the Coorparoo player to try and get it over the line. The umpire says, I'll take that. It is over the line as we are slightly obscured in the commentary box. I'm not sure what the vision's like on the live stream. I reckon it's pretty tight, Connor, the man behind the camera today. And the umpire comes out, enables us to now see a bit of the action as Holner and Eddy have a little bit of teat-to-teat. Jack Ratton off the right foot, can't quite take it. Coombs can't take it for the Buffs. Josh Lake in there, gets it probably a bit high. Umpire says go through, a little hand, a little nuggety. Daniel Haynes drives it forward, which is all you want, bit of yardage. Morgan across to Coombs, back to Morgan. Morgan drives it long, up onto the half-back flank, but Sam Holner's right underneath it. Sam Holner, former junior Coorparoo, played SQ this year. It's been a revelation for Coorparoo across the back line. That's not one of his greatest kicks. That was a shocker, in fact, as he found Hakeem Kennedy. But Josh Lake makes it look a lot better as he goes to Matty Suckling, misses the target. And the ball will be thrown in on the commentary wing, right in front of us, folks. Dylan Reid and Jordan Stratford, the two opposing ruckmen here to present. And we've got Brodie Murdoch right in front of us, the number 7 who's back on the ground. Great to see.
No opponent too, which
no
is very
opponent,
dangerous.
that's unusual.
And no clear winner there, but a nice hack forward kick to Rory Lake, who's had a bit of a quarter here, but well wrapped up. Beautiful tackle, pin the arm, and the umpire will say, that'll be mine. We look for another ball up. Fair bit of noise on both benches here about they're scrambling to get their players in position. Scrambling two of the ruckmen who kick it out of the air, but fair bit of jumper tug there by the Beenleigh ruckman against Coorparoo. A free kick will go Dylan Reid's way. Looks to play on quickly. Umpire doesn't like it. Get back on the line, he says. Bit of a flashy boot. I reckon he's going to go long down the line and straight to that hot spot looking for Edwards, but it's going to be big Stibbard who flies. And well crumbed by Coorparoo and well wrapped up by Beenleigh as Sauce Good with a good tackle there.
So shades of the first quarter, Rhodesy. It's been all Coorparoo Kings. The only difference is they've kicked a couple of goals and made their mark already, and the game is dead set on. And Beenleigh have got their opportunity now to show what they're made of. As it comes now, Murdoch couldn't quite clear it, and it's stacks on the mill largely. I don't know what you folks can see on the live stream. We can't see much from it. It's a free kick to Coorparoo.
Oh no,
Jack Ratton's got his hand up, I reckon. Number 3 for Coorparoo. I reckon he's got his hand up. He just banged one through a moment ago. Now, Rosie, I've seen this kid play over the last few years. A young junior coming through the system, and he was in some of those AFL Academy stuff, and they do rate him. And he has kicked bags of 3, 4, 5, 6 over the journey in club footy at senior level, so he knows where the goals are. He has played a bit of halfback this year. I think they've tried him in a few different positions. Played some Neufel back in the day, I think, for Redlands. So he gets a chance in a moment.
Zingelman is a bit proppy as the trainer's just seen him sort of at the top of the square there, but looks like Ratton's going to run around the body and probably favoured by the wind. It's almost going directly down the ground, so should keep it nice and tight. As he runs around the goal and sets it post high, turns straight to the Coorparoo reserves with the medals around their neck and says, "I'll have one too, thanks." Coorparoo boys get around him as Coorparoo edge a little bit further away in the second quarter. 2 goals, 7-19 is Beenleigh, chasing 5 goals, 2-32. Really taking their opportunities here, the Kings. And as you said, mate, tale of 2 quarters, but Coorparoo have been a little bit more accurate.
Well, a bit more accurate and a little bit more overall, not necessarily positive, but yeah, just their efficiency is been great and just critical in a grand final. Road, you only get the one chance. You know, it's home and away. You have a lot of opportunities, but on grand final day, you get 4 quarters, and there's always a wind blowing. You've got to make the most of it when you get it. And Cooper is certainly doing that at the moment in his second quarter of the Div 1 grand final. As Ratton, again, he's having a purple patch, gives it up to Casey. Been a good recruit for Coorparoo this year. Drives it forward now. That might have been 26 for Coorparoo. I'm jumping back here, my apologies. Josh Ferguson, the incoming Josh Ferguson, didn't play in the second semi-final. And the ball's out there on that far flank. No one...
Free kick behind the play here goes the way of Coorparoo. I think there's a little bit of a wrestle and a little bit lost his way there.
That's your boy too, Rosie.
It is.
Have you claimed him today?
I've claimed him. So Jakey Edwards in that far pocket. Should be a pretty tough kick, but majority of the goals here, excluding that last one from Ratton, have actually been from set shots sort of 30 out, excluding obviously that one from Ratton and Hogan's first goal of the game early down the other end. But Jake Edwards, and as we said, he's a beautiful kick of the footy and he's in a bit of a purple patch as he sends it post high and looks to have curved it magnificently as that is a goal. Gives it to the other pocket this time. Big fist up, cop that, he says, and the Coorparoo Kings get around him once more. Just frustrations boiling over a little bit for the Buffs here. Sauce Good gives away that free kick. I think he sort of dragged him down behind the play, and yeah, a little bit frustrating, no doubt, but you just can't let it get to you, especially on a day like this. Well,
you can't let it cost you goals, most importantly, Rhodesy, and they've kicked 4 in the opening 12 minutes of this quarter. And that's premiership football, right there. You know, they talk about the premiership quarter being the third quarter, and largely it is, but you don't want to lose it in the second, that's for sure. And at the moment, they're getting a great little advantage, Coorparoo, with this breeze, and it's blown out now to pretty much, it's 2-7-19, the Buffs trailing Coorparoo 6-2-38. So it's sort of a 19-point deficit. They do need to stem that flow a bit. As a go up now, Stratford v Lamb. Lamb, the versatile all-rounder for Coorparoo. Lures off the ground for Coorparoo. Now we're calling, it's interesting, we're just calling Coorparoo players, Rhodesy, as they start to dominate a large percentage of the play through the midfield. Comes back now, though, to the Buffs. What can they do here? And that is Jackson Clark. He kicks it now out to, I think it might be Lang.
Yep.
36.
There,
yep. Cooper Lang takes the footy. Kicks it forward now. Aidan Duncan overruns it. Not a great kick. He comes back with it second time. On the left foot now, right foot. There for Beenleigh Buffs. Out of bounds, unfortunately. And on the full with that breeze, that fluky breeze, which Coorparoo have made look like it's non-existent in this opening 15 minutes or 13 minutes of the of this quarter, as Casey for Coorparoo. Nice 55, 60-metre kick down on the wing. Good yardage for Coorparoo. The ball will get thrown in on that outer wing, Rhodesy. 15 minutes in, 14 and a half minutes into the second quarter.
Yeah, good metres gained there to sit up in mid-wing here on that far side, as a lot of the play so has been with this wind, as boundary umpire gives it a big oomph. And we've seen those two ruckmen battle at it again as Murdoch wheels around, kicks it long to Eddie. And that is, of course, Cal Eddie, who wheels and goes. Looks low to Josh James, and that's a beautiful mark and exactly what you want as a big key forward. So he's kicked a few goals this year, Josh James. He's been pretty good. He kicked 34 goals as the Buffs' leading goal kicker. Kicking into the wind here, will probably hammer on it on just about 48 metres, I'd say, or bang on 50. He's got a fair leg and gives it that big left hoof. Makes a difference and goes through for a minor score.
So the left foot cost him there, Rhodes. You mightn't have noticed, but there's a nice little muddy patch at centre half forward, and he had to run around it to kick, and it made him correct his kick just across the face of goal. Normally an excellent kick for goal. And anyway, the Buffs, at least they showed some great forward entry work there. As the ball comes up, there's a free kick paid against Coorparoo on this occasion after Lewis took a nice little mark. Hakeem Kennedy, he's thrown it back to the wrong player. What's that all about, Rosie? Number 41, Nathan Morgan with the footy. He was the recipient of the free kick, and Campbell Lewis threw it back to Hakeem Kennedy, who I'm sure was calling for it. He wanted to kick the goal himself.
Yeah.
But, you know...
Bit of mind game there almost.
Well, you know, he's lured and he sucked the umpire and given a 50, I reckon. So Morgan here, Nathan Morgan, shoots from 40, just pulls it slightly across the front. And Beenleigh, who weren't terribly accurate in the first quarter, are not terribly accurate in this quarter so far. Two attempts, they're 2 goals 9, trailing 6-2. Sorry, Rosie.
No, all good, mate. As Hogan plays on to go long down that far wing again, that's swallowed there by
Big
Dylan Reid, the big ruckman, who sends it long once more to the nugget. That is Daniel Haynes, and takes a fantastic mark. I believe the umpire's paid the mark there. Don't think he has the leg, the little man, but will pump it and look low for leading forwards. Well done. Running back with the flight there by number 10, Jeremy Hurst.
So Jeremy Hurst, Rhodesy, he's been a great player since coming to the Queensland capital, formerly of Ainslie Football Club. Played in several premierships with the mighty Ainslie Saints down there as well, and he's been a ripping player up here. Physio, I think, we tried to get him SQ many years ago, as he shoots from 35 out. They haven't missed all day down this end of the ground. And they have it again as Jeremy Hurst bangs on their 7th goal. 7 goals, 2-44. They lead the Buffs 2 goals, 9-21. They've absolutely ripped this game apart this quarter with 5 goals to 2 behinds. And it's only 17 minutes into this quarter, Rosie.
I think it's pretty easy for almost the Buffaloes to have a look at the conditions. It's a bit muddy. It's still quite wet out there. The wind's picking up, and they can point to that and say, geez, that's why we've missed our chances. But you have a look at Coorparoo, 7 goals 2 on a condition like this. Condition not an excuse sometimes, and I think that's proofs in the pudding. So, but being all over him at the moment. Through the midfield, it's been a bit of a 50-50, and Beenleigh have actually done quite well to get it out. Coorparoo using that hack forward method as we see Zingleman move into the middle. And again, Coorparoo hack it out off the ground. Well wrapped up, potentially didn't have the ball as he didn't have control, and it's a free kick Beenleigh's way. So that is number 45, Kumis, as he looks to go down that far side again. Not sure that's the greatest decision, but swallowed up there by 36 as he looks. Good tackle, and the overlap of Coorparoo here. Catch Beenleigh on the back foot as a poor kick to Edwards makes him work a little bit too hard.
So Rosie, that 45, Joel Kumis, he's a 23-year-old, first year of footy since the under-16s. He played down at Broadbeach in the AFL, the main comp, but as a 16-year-old showed some promise. Hasn't played footy. And Beenleigh have got a handful of players like that who've just come back to play with their mates or that type of thing. And he's proven to be a pretty good player, as young Kumis. So we'll see how the rest of the afternoon pans out for him. As Braden Eddy on the right foot just drives it, hacks it out of the back half. Coorparoo almost take it away. It's picked up here by, I think that might be Lang, possibly. The umpire's giving him a free for too high, if it is. And the Buffs, they need an urgent goal, no doubt about it. There's that young Kumis we just spoke about. Coming out here now, he's found one of the Morgans, Nathan Morgan, this one. He's held when he didn't have the football. And Nathan Morgan, the former Mount Gravatt, I reckon most of the Morgans ended up at Mount Gravatt, played some senior QFL footies. He finds his brother in Daniel. He handballs across the top there to Kumis. Kumis on the left foot, drives it inside 50, and big Dylan Reid in the last line of defence, or pretty much takes a good big strong mark and drives a nice 50-60 metre bomb onto the wing. Matt Suckling, he's the other bloke that can kick it a mile. He gives it off to Ben Hogan, who's run off half back beautifully. He's going to have a shot for goal from 50. By G, that would have been player of the day, Rhodesy, had that gone through. In fact, it probably is player of the day anyway, albeit with only the behind scored. As Coorparoo, 7 goals, 3:45 now lead Beenleigh 2-9-21. It's a 24-point ball game, and Beenleigh looking just to get out of their back half, get it inside and see if they can get some score on the board. It comes out here to Nick Tronk. Nick Tronk, another former Mount Gravatt footballer, been very good across half back, finds Kumis. Kumis is balking everyone there, even Shadows at one stage there. As it comes out, and it's a head high, unfortunately, coming out there to Jake Edwards for Coorparoo. As he goes forward, bangs it from 60. It's a great ripping looking kick. Can they take the mark? No, they can't. It comes back down, to Stibbard, who on the left foot, the big fella with the mop of red hair, number 34, kicks. Coorparoo Kings, 6th goal for the quarter. Rhodesy, 21 minutes in. It's 8-3 to 2-9.
It's been when Coorparoo move on so quick, they just move so effortlessly through the middle. We saw that over the other side with Suckling linking up with Hogan there, but we saw, by my count, we've seen one Beenleigh switch out the back line, which is interesting. I would have thought we'd seen a few more with this, given this wind. I would have thought you'd be looking for the shorter option rather than pumping it long down the wing each time, but maybe a little bit of panic sitting in for the Buffaloes. But, geez, I tell you what, Kumis has had a fair bit of it, and he's trying his damn hardest to drag him back in.
Yes, well, we've seen plenty of footy down there this opening 20 minutes. Who would have thought? I don't think any of us thought, certainly us in the box, hadn't quite seen this coming, as it comes back forward now to Beenleigh. Out now to Isaac Lynch, can't quite get the hands across now to Ryan Burney. They need some magic from him, the Buffs. Has found a player in Dom McEwen. He's a bit far out to score. He kicks across the body. He's found someone sort of half free, and in fact completely free in the end. Calamity with the orange boots, those boots, Rosie, which you've been pining for all afternoon. I know you'd love to get your mitts on those, mate, even though you've denied it up here. Nevertheless, Calamity, he is a good kick of the footy. He kicked one in the first, and if ever they need him to kick one, they talk about moments in seasons of footy, and it's only early in the game. We should be saying this in the second half, but by gee, they need this goal. 35 out on an acute-ish angle. He leans back on the football, pulls right back. In fact, it doesn't even get to the goal line. And Coorparoo were the readers, right in front of Brodie Murdoch. Something's happened. He said something, he's shifted, possibly just shifted a little bit in his britches, Brodie Murdoch. And the umpire said, mate, you can't come off the stand, the mark rule business.
And he's giving him back to back 50s there for arguing with the umpire.
The back chat. I don't know if it was Murdoch. I think it could have been Josh. It could have been Josh James. It could have been, I don't know who gave it. It was a short 50, thank goodness, for the Beenleigh Buffs. It was about 35, I reckon.
Brain fade there by the Buffs.
Yeah, not good. As Isaac Lynch bangs it long. It's a great-looking kick. In fact,
Stibbard again.
A great-looking mark. Gee whiz.
That's young Alex Stibbard, as we've called his name a couple of times. Comes into the side, and rightly so, as he backs into that pocket there. Looks to run around the body. You know you're going all right when you're backing into that reserves team that's got a flag, that's got the medal around their neck. You know you've got their support. But looks to push it. Good goal there, good composure as he runs around and sends it post high over the goal umpire's head. Another one for the Kings here, as they've kicked 6 goals in this quarter. 7 goals in this quarter. So making it very hard for Beenleigh. Just backtracking there with Caletti's shot. Just going into the wind, leaning back, did not just put any purchase on it whatsoever, which is very, very disappointing. So,
well, he didn't, unfortunately, and then they read it, and rest is history. A couple of 50-metre penalties, a little bit of ill discipline. The first one was from not standing the mark correctly. The next one was a bit of backtrack from someone, not sure who. Didn't matter. Lynch drove it forward. Stibbard did the rest. Stibbard, the 24-year-old from Morningside Footy Club originally, ends up with the Kings, as many ex-Morningside players have. They've got a relationship there. Mount Gravatt and Morningside players end up there from time to time at the Coorparoo Kings. As it comes out, Brodie Murdoch, if ever they need a mercurial stint from him, it's any time soon. As it comes down, it comes down. They got a free kick, and he's along. This is the big
Stratford there.
It is big Stratford. I'm not sure he's a noted goal kicker, is he, Rosie? I think he's more the big, bustling ruckman style of kid.
Yeah. They've got the big tall timber up there with Josh James, and Georgie James gets a couple of them sometimes too. So no doubt he'll be looking for Joshy on the goal line here as he absolutely hoofs it. It's going to sit up in that wind, in perfect spot there for Josh James. But Dylan Reid does well to move back, and co-captain Sam Holner works well as a bull to get it out and send it long down the middle of the ground. But Beenleigh outnumber here. They might get another opportunity as they move it around with a handball and then come out to this Zinger wing, who's been quite instrumental setting up the play through the wing here, and he'll send that to the half-forward line.
Kicks it long there. Sam Hickey, great mark over the back of Braden Eddy there. And this young man has been a good player over the last couple of years. A young junior coming through. Only 19 is Sam Hickey, 19-20. Where's the number 20? Zingerberger flies over the top of maybe his hero once upon a time in Matt Suckling. If he followed the Bulldogs or anyone, maybe the Hawks, maybe he just almost tackled his hero, Rosie. Hard to say. As young Zinger, he's had a reasonable afternoon, and distinctive with that helmet, folks. He's the only player wearing a helmet out on the ground this afternoon. Number 40 for the Beenleigh Buffs. As it comes in now, Stratford v Christian Lamb. Lamb, he's got a leap on him. Can't quite negate it. Comes down now. Bernie couldn't take it. There's the Zinger man we've been talking about. Comes out now to Daniel Morgan on the right foot. Drives it long, high, wide, into Josh James. And he takes a mark. Right, he's played on quickly.
And he sees
should have paid off, and it probably has.
Good vision there. He
was finds Eddie.
Was best on for the Buffs in their big qualifying final win over Coorparoo, kick 5. And yeah, it just goes to show just good vision there by the key forward. Unselfish, you would have thought a big key forward who's their leading goal kicker would have turned his back on his teammates and gone, thank you, I'll have it. But just goes to show that sometimes in this wind, you just need to get that little bit closer as Cal Eddy gets another opportunity to convert this quarter. Runs in and steadies. A little bit more purchase, but still leaning back as he pushes it to this close side for another point for the Buffaloes. 2 goals, 10-22. Plays 9 goal, 3-57 Coorparoo's way as Ben Hogan, who has done so all day, takes the kick out, plays on down that far wing and sends it up the ground to a big contest.
To the wing. It's a great kick and it's a great mark. Rory Lake, we spoke about earlier, set the scene in the opening moments of this quarter and takes a great mark, drives it forward inside to the flank there for Coorparoo. Big Stibbard, he's grown a leg since his 2 goals this quarter. As it comes out, the Buffs now trying to steady across to Braden Eddy, he's been solid this afternoon, getting plenty of little unobtrusive touches. Gives it again. It's not a great kick. Cut off there by Coorparoo. Back out to Jake Edwards with the left handball across to his teammate there. Drives it inside 50. There's 2 against 1. No one can quite take it. Suckling, no, you've got to be careful of this fella. Folks, he's won premierships. He's done lots of things. As Jack Ratton, grabs it with the right boot, flies across his shoulder. It's just the behind. Gee, they've scored a behind, Rosie. They've missed. And who would have thought, because they banged everything they've had a chance to this quarter through the middle. And the Buffs, they can't probably see half-time come quick enough at the moment. They've got to stem the flow. They're 36 points down. It's not even half-time of the grand final, and they need the wind, or they need a burst of something. As Stratford takes the mark now in front of Lamb, they play on. Sean Good now. He's spoiled.
There. Beautiful smother there by the Nugget, but Cal Eddy here to pick up the pieces for Beenleigh. He goes a big grubber along the ground to Fletcher Gay-Brown. And turnover here, Beenleigh are out, they've got the runners. Dominic McEwen goes long to Josh James, he's got to run back with the flight, but Sam Holner does well to compel that one. There's a bit of composure for Coorparoo, and they can take a breath collectively as they move it down the far wing to Coranda, putting it in space for the young fella, which is what he loves so much. Hasn't done it a lot today, but doesn't take a bounce, but takes a fair run and looks out for Stibbard, who's left alone. Bit of the cult hero in that pocket is the fiery red hair of Stibbard. And once again, will look to potentially run around, despite being a right footer. It looks like he's lining up for either. What do you think there, Chip? He's either going the Oppo on the left or is he going for the banana on the right?
No, he's going the left, mate. He's going the left, the big fella, and he just kicks across the body. Oh, he's happy. He's happy with it. Look at that.
The double
if you
cobra.
don't mind. He skied it. He skied the footy, but he kicked it straight through the middle. Nevertheless, and Stibbard has had a quarter for the ages. Alex Stibbard. 2 weeks ago, he was playing twos footy with the Coorparoo Kings in the second semi, and carving up the main Tigers that day in a big win, but he's been elevated last week for the prelim, and today in the second quarter of the Div 1 Grand Final, Alex Stibbard, the 24-year-old Morningside, has kicked 3 goals, and the Coorparoo Kings are 10 goals for 64. They lead Beenleigh 2-10-22. It is almost an unreachable mark right here at 30 minutes into the second quarter. It's 42 points a diff, Rhodesy, and talk about an 8-goal quarter of footy.
You said earlier there, Danny, I don't think that half-time siren going quick enough for the Buffaloes, as Coorparoo do well again to use Gavin out of that backward midfield. A little bit of a spilled contest there, and there's the half-time siren as a little bit of push and shove there on the far wing, as no doubt tempers will start to flare and frustrations may come to a head. But half-time, beautiful, massive quarter there by Coorparoo for putting on 8 goals, 4 to the 3 points of Beenleigh. With a full score of Beenleigh, 2 goals, 10-22, chasing Coorparoo's 10 goals, 4-64.
So, Rhodesy, the goal kickers for that quarter, Jack Ratton scored 1, Jake Edwards kicked 2, Shay Coranda kicked 2, and Alex Stibbard kicked 3. And in the first quarter, Hogan and Shay Coranda added 1 to his in that first quarter. And for Beenleigh Buffaloes, they've kicked just the 2. Callum Eddy in the first quarter had a couple of chances that quarter, couldn't quite nail them. And Josh James kicked the other one in that first quarter. And 3 behinds, Beenleigh Buffs that quarter to 8 goals, 4 for the that quarter. The premiership quarter, it's may well turn out to be, Rhodesy. 42 points, the difference at half-time. Can you see the Buffs getting back into the game?
Yeah, they're obviously taking a little bit of time to head back into the rooms there, and I think they'll be pretty disappointed. And like you said, mate, they're not without their chances. They've had more than enough opportunities, and more than enough opportunities, particularly in that first quarter. I think they'll rue the chance of, rue the missed opportunity of having that breeze. And it's when you're kicking sort of 2 goals, 7 in that first quarter, when you've got a breeze like that, you're sort of kicking yourself come now, because you look at the polar opposite, which is Coorparoo, and they've taken their opportunities with 2 hands. So, but not all doom and gloom for Beenleigh. A couple of key contributors in that quarter, and Kuma's been one, Zingelman's good on the wing, and even Bernie, who's stacked up through the middle a little bit. Sort of those lightly framed guys are actually coming into play for Beenleigh, but it's almost the key operators have been probably a bit more quieter, and just haven't delivered as much as we usually would expect from them, particularly with Murdoch and even Lucas Bell. But it's as we head into half-time, should be a cracker. No doubt they'll get a rev up by the coach here, and hopefully bounce back for that premiership quarter.
You're listening to the big Josh Rhodes, the big Rod, and Danny Craven. Half-time, the AFLQ Division 1 Grand Final. Beenleigh Buffaloes versus Coorparoo, and it's Coorparoo after an 8-goal 4 second quarter, kicking with a strong breeze. They're 10-4-64, and they lead the Beenleigh Buffs 2 goals 10. A disastrous efficiency rate there, 22. And we'll see you after half-time and see if a little miracle on grass can happen at Leyshon Park. A 42-point deficit for Beenleigh Buffaloes.
My favourite things about being an umpire would be making friends, getting fit and getting involved in the game. You're a big part of the game as an umpire, so it's a great way to get involved in the game.
What I love most about being an umpire is being involved in the game, even at my age and my level of fitness, and actually being able to be out there with a great group of people. It's fantastic.
What I love most about being an umpire is being involved with footy, making new friends and getting paid to be involved in the game I love.
Definitely get involved. It is a great way to stay fit. It's a great inclusive community. It's a very supportive community and it's a job that anyone can do. It doesn't matter about your gender, doesn't matter about your age, your fitness abilities. It's just a great way to be involved in the AFL.
I would encourage anyone to get involved in umpiring. It's fantastic, it's fun, and you get paid to be involved in the sport that you love.
Don't know what time it is.
Welcome back to the QFA Division 1 HART Sport Cup Senior Grand Final. Obviously, big thank you to our major sponsors here, HART Sport. Been a massive supporter of community footy for a number of years, and obviously fantastic to have them as naming rights partner for our premier community competition in southeast Queensland. We return here, so bit of a story of accuracy versus inaccuracies. Beenleigh 2 goals 10-22 plays Coorparoo 10 goals 4-64. The umpires get them in play. Another big thank you to Bradnam's for all your windows and doors needs, our major sponsor of the umpiring department too this year. So sun's out, wind's still blowing, chipper here with Danny Craven. My name's Josh Rhodes, and we're about to kick off the second half.
Beautiful, Rhodesy. Thanks for bringing us back in for this hopefully exciting second half. A bit of an anti-climax, if you wanted a tight game in that second quarter, when the Coorparoo Kings took all before them with 8 goals 4. Kicking left of the screen they were. This time it's the Buffs kicking left of the screen. A little bit of a bruised advantage. Can they do something similar? As it's driven forward, Dom McEwen drives it to half forward. It's pretty important that they start well, you'd imagine, this quarter, the Buffs, as it gets bustled across the line, about 50 out on the far flank, and the Buffs are setting up. Brodie Murdoch, an important player, first half, copped a head knock, bit of a neck back problem, it would appear, is what we've heard the whisper at half time. So his impact has been restricted, no doubt, and for them, they're going to need him to play well, you'd think, to get back in the game. So hopefully he can muster something up. As it gets driven forward into the 50-metre line, Ryan Burney, diving mark in front of his some faithful fans across in front of the John Pearce scoreboard, which, as you probably noticed, those that are watching the live stream today, doesn't appear to be working the score, but it is working a magnificent time clock, Rhodesy. That's one of the greatest time clock features I've ever seen.
Yeah, we're missing the bottom right pixels on the big scoreboard, so if you actually chuck the scores up there, you can't tell the away team score. So, yeah, you are right. That's got to be the biggest score clock going around local footy, no doubt, as Bernie runs in. Bit of an old wobbler, pushed to the close side for a behind, which has been the story for the Buffaloes thus far.
Absolutely been the story, those. I think Coorparoo kicked the six goals won last quarter, didn't they? Every shot they had went through. And Beenleigh in the first quarter, down that windy end, kicked 2 goals 7. So they've started off in the same vein. We'll see what else comes as Ben Hogan plays on again from half back. It's a long driving kick up to the wing. Good mark taken there by, might be Stratford in the ruck. He drives it forward. Declan, he drops what he definitely should have taken. He's wrapped up there by Coorparoo, but he's got some support. Aidan Duncan, the brother of John Duncan, the captain, the team captain for Beenleigh Buffs, who did his ACL earlier in the year. A real shame for him. And Aidan, from all reports, rates himself more highly than John Duncan, is what I've heard. And I was asked to mention on air today. So whether that's the case, he's missed out in the grand final. I don't really like saying those things. Brodie Murdoch shoots from 50 with a laser left foot of his. Ladies and gentlemen, the player that can bring this team back into the game, Brodie Murdoch, number 7, with the orange boots and the laser left foot kick, which is used so damagingly this season and this level, has kicked the opening goal. It's 2 minutes in, 2 minutes 52 in, and Brodie Murdoch has done exactly what the doctor ordered in this opening stanza of the third quarter. With the goal, they go to 3 goals, 11-29, trailing Coorparoo 10-4-64. They're going to need that to happen 5 or 6 times this quarter, you'd say, Rhodesy, to even give themselves a sniff. But that was a great little opening stanza for them.
Absolutely, they're done, and he's done it so often throughout this season. As Big George James and Reid, 50-50 once again in the ruck. Bit of a ruck battle. I don't think there's a victor thus far, but Coorparoo again hacking it forward. Rory Lake using that experience and his body to take a chest mark there on the edge of the square. Nice floated kick, should be to a leading forward, but no, it's going to be Joel Kumis who mops up for Beenleigh. Looking up that far wing again, pumps it long using the wind. Looks to be Coranda to running back, but crumbs there by the Zinger box, Zingelman, as he hits up Eddie. Eddie, poor handball there, wrapped up. No, shirks the tackle, shirks another one, gets his handball out. The boundary umpire says that's out of bounds.
Probably two of the better players in that first half combining there for Beenleigh, and that being the Joel Coombs kick up and Zingerman reading it beautifully. Those two will certainly have been good first half performers for Beenleigh, it'd be fair to say. And they're going to need some of those other ones like the Brady Murdochs and co to really step up in this second half. As it comes down now, one of the Morgan brothers in on the football. Big James standing in front there, and it looks like Hickey has been tackled for Coorparoo. And the umpire says, give it to me. Will bounce down. You can see the flags in the background, folks. The blue flags blowing left of screen. And the wind, not that it's died, but it's still worth, you'd think, 3 to 4 goals definitely to that left side of town. As Rory Lake, premiership quarter for him, although I was doing Gavin actually then, my apologies. We've mentioned Rory, and we'll mention him between now and the end of the game if they go on to win, of course, Coorparoo, in what's possibly his last game of football in Queensland.
Yep, played in, or coached Coorparoo's last premiership in 2016, so it's been a pretty big servant for the club, and yeah, big footy factory, big footy family, I should say, the Lakes for Coorparoo. Has Beenleigh looked long penetrating down that far side, out of bounds on the full free kick, Coorparoo. But yeah, as you alluded to there, Danny, is Rory Lake could be wrapping it up by all accounts after this game. But has been a magnificent player and a magnificent leader for the Kings, and you know, no doubt wants nothing more than to cap it off for the premiership.
Absolutely, and as you rightly pointed out, the last flag Coorparoo won was 2016. It was on this ground against their arch rival in Springwood in a thriller where they came from behind that day. And obviously they don't want to have any fairy tale sport today after leading by 7 goals at half time. So we'll get onto that later perhaps and reminisce nostalgically, assuming Coorparoo still well in the lead in that last quarter as we return to the action. And Beenleigh, with all the footy so far in the opening 6 minutes, good signs there for them. And it's really, I think when you're 7 goals down at half time, Rosie, and you're coaching, you can't expect to kick them, even though you kick them with the wind. You'd like to kick them this quarter, but you just got to get 3 or 4 of them back and be within perhaps 3 at half time, you'd think, to give themselves, 3/4 time, to give themselves some sort of sniff. So they've kicked 1, and they're winning all the footy in the opening 6 minutes, so they've just got to get another 3 or 4 as it gets driven back across halfback. Jack Ratton drives it with the right foot. Casey drops again what he should have taken. And it comes back up now to the Buffs. Murdoch, Zingerman with the helmet. And he's wrapped up by the Coorparoo boys out in that outer wing. And there's not too many people out there, Rhodesy, you'll see. And in fact, in the commentary where we are here, folks, if you can just envisage it, the crowd is not reflective of the crowd here today over there. There's probably, maybe 50 you could sprinkle over there, Rhodesy. But over this side of ground, there's hundreds, thousands almost.
You can probably guess where the bar is there, Chip.
Yeah.
There's no bar over that other side, and hence it's a bit of a wasteland.
Yeah, this side of the ground is definitely where all the fans are, certainly to the left and right of commentary. All the left is a lot of Coorparoo people. Gets driven inside 50, and one of the Morgan boys, this is Daniel, kicks it short, great lead, great kick. He finds Josh James, and Beenleigh just doing what they need to do at the moment. What they do need to do is actually finish these kicks. They've shown, and we don't have the stats we spoke about, but have we got the stats? I reckon they lead the possession count of the game. They've been right in it. They just can't kick straight. As Josh James leans back a bit, puts his hands in the air though, folks. It's a goal. It's a goal, a badly needed second goal of the quarter at the 8-minute mark. It's about where you want to kick him, Rhodesy. And Josh James kicks his second for the game. He kicked one in the first quarter with the Breeze, and he's kicked another one now, and they go to 4 goals, 11-35. And you can only just see that other temporary scoreboard, Rhodesy, over there, and trailing Coorparoo 10-4-64. Creep a bit closer. 2 goals, they were 7 down, they're now 5 down.
Huge goal and a huge steadier there for Josh James. But they've actually had a few shots on goal, and they've got it as they've been leading, and the Beenleigh midfielders have lowered their eyes. They've actually managed to find the leading forwards on quite a few occasions, as we have another repeat stoppage in the middle. But even, Josh James has had 3 shots on goal. He's kicked 2 of them. They've all been beautiful leads out in front, and they've actually hit that target rather than blazing long. Whether that's the key to success or not, I don't know, but it seemed to have worked for them in the interim. As we go once again, Beenleigh hacking it forward, and a lowered eyes into that far pocket goes Ryan Burney in a foot race there. Sammy Holner, a nice steadier, but under pressure, off balance kick will go out of bounds on the full, and I just can't quite see who will take the kick for the Buffaloes.
It looks like I can't see either. It's a nice looking kick though, and it finds Dom McEwen. Let's just assume we know. I think it might have been Braden Eddy. If I was taking a punt, I'd say Braden Eddy. If he's got number 17 on his back and turns around, let us know, Ray. It is.
Very good by
you. It is Braden Eddy. Nice kick. Very underrated player is Braden Eddy in this competition. Accumulates 25 to 30 week in, week out, as he's found his teammate here, Dom McEwen, who started off this quarter well as well. Kicks from about 40, leans back. It's a bit of a woe-begone sort of thing. It's gone through for a point. And to continue that point melee that Beenleigh have been so good at today, unfortunately for them and their supporters, they need goals, and this is the quarter they've got to kick them just to give themselves some hope for that last quarter into the breeze as they try and defend this one out. Campbell Lewis dives in, the co-captain of Coorparoo. We think of Rory Lake as being the captain, but of course Campbell Lewis along with Sam Holner are the co-captains, the next breed of player coming through. And replacing the old dinosaurs, if I may say that, Rory Lake, and they are the next crew as Dylan Reid and Stratford line up here across half forward at the Beenleigh Buffs end. Goes down Reid with a strong 20-metre punch out in the path of Sam Hickey. Can't quite gather the footy. Sorry, it's Ollie Arklay. He can't quite get it. Aidan Duncan can't get it either, and it's run over the boundary line now there by Kumis. And I'll keep calling Rhodesy while your view's obscured, mate, here. And we Murdoch and Lewis, the 2 number 7s underneath the ruckman there. Dylan Reid, the white Coorparoo. Dylan Reid, of course, didn't play 2 weeks ago in their defeat by Beenleigh. And he's back in the side. He's been pretty good this afternoon, though. Stratford gets this on this occasion. Drives inside 50. It's a long kick. Goes over the back. Wrapped up nicely there by Coorparoo. Going forward to Campbell Lewis. He can't quite take it. And that kick coming from Dane Watmuff, the ex-Labrador player.
Oh, it's off the genuine mongrel off the side of the boot as it peters out right in front there as you hear the whistle for another throw-in on this commentary side wing. Sun's out now. For the first time we saw the ruckman put their hand up to block the sun, which has been a nice change from the rain we had this morning, but starting to dry the ground out as we're starting to get a bit more free run for both sides. And speaking of, Michael Casey breaks out the middle and using Shale Coranda, who wants to wheel and go and does, chucked down by Zingelman. Enough pressure to mount the kick, but steadied again, playing man in front, Beenleigh. Goes long up the guts and it's worked. The steadier, and you've got a few runners down the side, and he'll use them as again is Zingelman, who's just work rate goes to show there, but has let himself down with the foot skill department. But a big hit by Dominic McEwen. It's gone straight over the goal umpire's head. Thank you for coming. Fantastic goal there by Dominic McEwen, and a good team effort as they linked up really well through the midfield. It just goes to show that you don't always have to blaze away, Chip, as you're exiting defence. You can lower your eyes and go through the middle sometimes.
No, they look were relatively composed, Beenleigh. I think they've got an inner belief that they can run the game out and score quickly. So right now they're showing those signs. Terrific rundown chase. Wasn't quite sure who it was from the Buffs on Shea Coranda, who looked like he was going to have a long entry inside 50. They wrapped the footy up, delivered it out through the agency of Braden Eddy. Found his mate Zingerman. They've been 2 players have been great all day, and then of course McEwen, who's had a terrific open. I think he's playing out of the midfield a bit too. He's had a terrific third quarter so far. There he is again, Dom McEwen, the man of the moment. Flicks it out to Hakeem Kennedy on the right foot. They're getting plenty of footy, the Buffs, at the moment, as Braden Eddy spoils it down. And it comes back out to one of the Morgan brothers here. He drives inside 50, spoilt by the Coorparoo Kings nicely. They're under attack. They're under a bit of siege at the moment, and they need to try and stop this momentum that Beenleigh have started. in this third quarter as the ball is taken away here. Beenleigh Buffs can't quite get it, and the umpire's going to say, give it to me on that wing. We're 14 minutes into the third quarter, and for a script and for an exciting game of footy, Rhodes, we said that Beenleigh had to dominate this quarter, and so far they are. They've kicked 3 goals, 2 to no score so far in this quarter. As Casey runs away, Coorparoo Kings hasn't been super busy today. Starting to get in the action now. Flicks it on to his teammate. Can't quite get the ball away. Beenleigh Buffs are desperate in defence. Coorparoo Kings. Casey's come through there again. Can't quite take it. There's a free kick being picked out, and it goes to a Morgan brother. That is a Morgan brother, and it's gone out to Sean Good, who played SQ this year. Good player, ripping player. Brother of Declan Good, who unfortunately, who was the incoming captain, replaced John Duncan, the captain, and then broke his foot 2 weeks ago. So he's out. That's his brother. Great spoil from Coorparoo Kings, and that was by, I think it might have been from the AFL superstar in Matty Suckling. Yes, it was. He's hasn't had a great afternoon in terms of possession, but his experience and things like that just really show some leadership on the ground. As Dylan Reid, big bang. He's been good in the ruck today. Drives it forward. Rory Lake, the stagey, crafty Rory Lake, gives it out to Shea Caranda, just drives it a bit long, looking for his teammate there in Fletcher Gay Brown, the youngster, probably the youngest young man on the field, 18. I think he's 17. Is young Fletcher. Yep. And along with
as well.
I think Ollie Arclay is 17 as well. 2 17-year-olds, 2 youngest players on the ground are those 2 lads today. Over to you, Rhodesy.
Yeah, we've got a ball up on far side, just top edge of the 50 of Coorparoo's attacking half. As the nugget, that is Coorparoo, steam out and well read back by number 50, Jackson Clark, with a jumper change there at halftime, who sends it long back up that wing and finds another beautiful user of the ball in Braden Eddy, their captain. So you goes through the midfield again, which worked earlier. Bernie's dropped one that he's usually eating by now, and wrapped up in a fantastic tackle as the Coorparoo get their numbers there to help out. And looks a bit of an overlap here as they hack it forward once more. Bit of a steadier there as Beenleigh link up once again. Zingelman using up that wing, tries to get on the run but can't as he's pressed out by Jackson Clark. Bit of work right there, strokes one tackle, handball again. Says 1-2, thank you, but intercepted there by Coorparoo as Shao Caranda and Zingelman fight it over. No, it's kept in well by Beenleigh. And again, just repelling those repeat attacks by Coorparoo and doing quite well for it is long to Luke Morgan, one of obviously our sets of brothers out there for Beenleigh.
So Campbell Lewis taken high in that exchange. So it's just a bit of to and fro across half-back lines here. No one can quite break clear. Beenleigh's momentum has been quelled by Coorparoo, it would be fair to say, at the moment, as Coorparoo mount a rearguard action. Ben Hogan been pretty good, drives inside 50, almost hits his teammate on the head by accident. Couldn't quite take the mark. Beenleigh Buffs looking for the football. There's plenty of defenders. Can they get out? Can they extract themselves without coughing it up? Bernie's with a bit of a freelance handball. They're in trouble, Beenleigh. Can they get out? Sean Good tries to clear it. Casey's a great smother. Onto his teammate there. Drives it inside 50. Almost taking the mark there, Edwards. Can't quite take it. And the ball is really importantly 50-50 contest here. They've got to get out here, Beenleigh Buffs, or they're in strife. Can't quite clear it. Here they come. Maybe they get out here, and they do exit.
Just open play, just no marks, no stoppages, no nothing as Eddie goes and hacks it forward once again using Luke Morgan. He's got a couple of metres on him here, Morgan. Can't pick it up, that slippery football. Does well to keep his feet and shirk the tackle. Handball over the top, might have got a finger on it. And again, that frontal pressure. Here's a handball to space. To Zingelman over the shoulder, smothered, and it still remains in play. No respite here for the players. The umpire calls holding free kick.
Gee.
You don't have to be dead to be stiff there, Danny. I think it...
Very fortunate, I would have thought, Rhodesy, in some ways. I mean, the free kick itself's arguable, but just, they do their first option there, Beenleigh. They're just trying to do a bit too much. They just need to give that first hands. Like 2 or 3 of them tried to hang on to it just a bit long, and in the end, all the balls just kept getting smothered. So, but in the end, their perseverance is what's paid off here, and they're going to have a shot at goal. 35 out, free kick. It looks like one of the Morgan boys, I think, as they shoot on goal with the right foot, and he's not happy, as you can see, the reaction of the chap. And I'm not sure which Morgan brother it is, but he wasn't happy, and just the behind. But Beenleigh still certainly have pegged back a little bit of that lead, and they're going all right. As it comes back here, Nick Tronk with a spoil for Beenleigh. Dean Gavin hasn't been quite as prolific as he was in the first quarter. Comes out to Jack Ratton. He's been better since the first quarter. Comes up now. Great defending there by the Buffs. Taken over the line. That was young David Stray. Through the junior system, young Stray. Unobtrusive little small defender. Been a very good player for them all year, we have been informed. Of course, me and Rhodesy haven't seen all the local footy this year, folks, so our apologies for if we're astray on some of our commentary as we go on, and I hand over to you, Rhodesy. No, I don't, because you can't see. That's all good, mate. I'll take it from here, but yeah, just our apologies in advance if you are watching this live stream live or in the future because your team won the premiership. Well, blame Rhodesy for not having read up on all his players in the fashion that should have been, and myself, of course. So as it comes down here to Daniel Haynes' tackle right in front of us here. He's been a great little recruit for the Coorparoo Kings this year, a real nugget, bore-in type who never gives up, and he tackled Aidan Duncan to the ground for the Beenleigh Buffs. Right in front of us. McEwen, was it?
Yeah.
Thanks, mate. Murdoch and Ratton, who gets it? Big Georgie James. Here's McGavin. He's lifted his rating. Kick smothered, though. Rory Lake, can he take it? Can't quite
Big
clear it.
hit
Oh,
on
he's caught one high there on the way through from one of the Beenleigh boys. Campbell Lewis is wrapped up in a tackle. And umpire, gee, see that which umpire is that one there, Roger? You'd know him, wouldn't you? Is that Kai Knight, or when he calls it, he puts his arms across his chest as he's going to do the big holding the ball, and then he says it's mine.
A little bit of suspense there.
Well,
he
certainly throws me out of whack. As Dean Gavin, he's starting to rack. The minute you say he hasn't had that much of it, he has had it 3 times. This big stupid, surely he can't kick 4 straight like that, and he doesn't. He's kicked it from outside 50. It is the first score for Coorparoo, though, the quarter. It's 21 minutes into this third quarter. Beenleigh, who've dominated the opening 15, kicked 3 goals, brought the margin back to just the 4 goals, and but Coorparoo, if they kick one late here, would really make things tough for Beenleigh, you'd think, as Jack Ratton lines up from 57 out.
Yeah, he doesn't want to go too long and goes short to Casey, who's popped up a little bit now. He's had a pretty decent quarter, I'd say, coming out through the midfield as the bald heads makes him sticks out, as do the tough stickers on the arm. A little bit out of range, I'd say, given the wind, but a beautiful lead short and hits it lovely. And we'll wait for that young man to turn around before we can tell you who it is. But that's one of not many inside 50s for Coorparoo, but again, they get their opportunity as Josh Ferguson. Josh Ferguson will look to have his shot.
Young man 2 weeks ago was in the 2s. He snuck in last week for the prelim as a forward. Did a good job apparently last week, and he gets a chance here to really put a nail in the coffin for Beenleigh Buffs, and it looks like he possibly has. He's hit the post, the young fella. Be fair to say Damien Eddy in the coach's box wouldn't have been happy that that young fella was even having a shot, because they were never going to, that distance out, there was just too much open space. They didn't cover it, and he shouldn't have been allowed to take that, but he did. And but he has hit the post fortuitously, so maybe that might be a bit of luck for the Buffs in their running to try and take it up. Zingelman drops but gets retarded by the arm, takes the mark, goes with a measured kick inside 50. Good spoil there, though, from Coorparoo. Oh, we've copped the high one, and he made it look every bit dramatic as he could there, Josh James.
A little bit of mayo on that one.
Oh, a little bit of mayo, but boy, gee, you're 4 goals down in the grand final and you're charging in, and you're going to do what you can, aren't you, Rhodesy, I'd imagine?
That's it, absolutely. Wind over the shoulder here for Josh James, and, you know, he's missed 1, 2 goals, 1. Fair straight shooter, though, and he's, how do you like him from here?
He in the club footy, he kicks these ones. So whether he can do it today, he's a lovely left foot kick. generally he up and undered that one. That was not a good one of his best efforts. It's come down nicely though. Ryan Burney by the looks. Surely not. No, it's marked on the line there by Coorparoo.
Yep.
Gee, these are important moments for Beenleigh. You'd imagine in the context of the game and trailing by 4 goals with a little bit of breeze, they need to get another one, if not 2. You'd think Rosie to be a genuine chance to come home.
And this is what we spoke about in that second quarter. That's not a great kick, but the statement runs the same where Coorparoo, a couple of short kicks in a row, which is what you want to be doing when you're kicking in a win like this. I don't think Beenleigh have used that opportunity as much as they could have in that last quarter, but out on bounds on the full, Zingelman will go long, looking for that tall timber in both James's. Big crush of the pack there by Coorparoo, and about 4 different blokes picked the ball up then. I think they all tackled each other, so the umpire, rightly so, will ball that one up. Slight angle, about 30 out.
This stuff suits Coorparoo, the congested, they've been a great defensive side all year, and Beenleigh have been the most defensive side, as you spoke about Rhodesy earlier, but Beenleigh likes the open play, the transition from the pack. They like a little bit of open play, whereas this probably just suits Coorparoo in that stoppage to close it down when they need to score goals, unfortunately. As Coorparoo comes away here, nice transition. Hogan out on the flank here, normally uses it pretty well. Does again this time. His mate can't quite grab it in Ferguson. And, in fact, the umpire says, give it to me. As the sun certainly come out, Rhodesy, this afternoon, it was a miserable old day up until 2-ish this afternoon. It's now got the sun out.
Yeah, the footy gods have looked after us for this second half of the 2022 Division 1 HART Sport Cup Senior Grand Final. And another massive thank you to HART Sport for their ongoing support of community footy. As on the half-forward line, on the Beenleigh's half-forward line, we'll have another throw-in. A few stoppages this game, but the big eaters will go for another fight. And it's again McEwen who gets his hands first of the footy. Well held by Coorparoo, but you've got to have the ball to tackle him. So it's a free kick Buffalo's way. As
what's he doing?
There's umpires paid
the other way.
High contact.
Other way? Yeah, I think it's the other way. It's been reversed.
A little bit of confusion on
it's been
up
reversed
here in the box and up there on the ground as well. So yeah, looks to have been potentially off the ball. There's high contact against the.
No one knows. No one knows. Big Dylan.
Big Dylan Reid will have it. No doubt he'll be handballing it straight back to Casey. No. Good. If I was a betting man chip, I'd say it's long down the line for the big fella. And he goes long, sort of inboard, but
I don't think you meant to do that.
No, I don't think either. But it's a fair Ollie Mauler's sausage, good and well picked up there by Josh. No, sorry, that's Daniel Haynes, but pushes it across. Does the little nugget. No guesses as to where he gets his nickname from. As Beenleigh take the kick out and push over to that far side.
So it's a transfer. Important minutes here. We're 27 minutes into this third quarter. Beenleigh have done what they need to do in respect of winning lots of football and having lots of front half usage, but they've only kicked the 3. It's 3-0. It's brought them a bit closer, but they do trail by 24 points. 5-12-40. I can't read the scoreboard, Rosie.
I'll get him.
Thank you.
5-13-43 Beenleigh to Coorparoo's 10-7 at 67.
There you go. So it's a 24-point ball game. You'd think Beenleigh just need one before three-quarter time to make a game of it from here, but with obviously Coorparoo with the breeze in the last quarter. As it comes forward, here's Shea Coranda, snaps on the right across the body, and he's brought down in a tackle at the last minute. It's just, in fact, it's out of bounds as it hit the behind post, and we'll have a ball up in Coorparoo, deep in Coorparoo's forward line. And Coorparoo, again, conversely, a coach's box, Sam Lake and Barry O'Brien, the co-coaches of Coorparoo, of course, they'd love a little late-minute goal here. There's no doubt about that. That would really just cement their standing this afternoon and make life less dramatic in the last quarter, as its free kick has been pulled out here. It goes to Beenleigh, goes across Declan Eddy, across the half-back line.
No options deep there. It's all Coorparoo as he's realised that one. I think he's looking to switch as he hits up.
Oh, gee.
Sure, good, but Good pressure there by Coorparoo as Brodie Murdoch mops up and sends it long with Hogan to take another intercept mark, but no, can't grab it. Good composure there by number 36 in Cooper Lang as he sends it up. And here's our boy Kumis, who's been good all day. And a big, quick, fast re-entry into the forward line, but a beautiful intercept mark there by Dane Watmouth of Coorparoo.
It was a great mark. That wasn't a real diving mark right in front of the Coorparoo supporter base there on the hill, and may well have a big influence before the day's out. Comes down there, Braden Eddy can't take it. Sam Hickey's been solid today on the left foot, kicks it, cross half back. It's a bit up and under. Big Dylan Reed's under it though, and he's the pick of the ruckman for mine, Rhodesy, today. The experience of Dylan Reed, the former VFL and Aspley and Grange player. He's got plenty of big match experience, and he's certainly come to the fore today after, you know, as we say, only coming in late a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And Todd Capel, who'd played all year for Coorparoo, and led to Believe and rucking in other roles, unfortunately went back to the twos for the prelim, and he played in the reserves, winning premiership today, which was good from his point of view, but maybe not so good if the way it's looking here from a senior point of view. Is Dean Gavin drives it inside. It was not the greatest of kicks, but they almost came up with the football. The Buffs have got numbers there, but they're under siege from Coorparoo. Zinger man, he's had a good game, this young fella on the wing with the helmet. He kicks to his mate Morgan, who gives it straight back to Coorparoo on the wing. And I think that might be, is that Sam Hickey? Is that number 20? I think it might be on the left foot. Yep. And he kicks it across to Suckling. It's late in the quarter. It's almost 31 minutes, and Coorparoo are thinking, we wouldn't mind going in with a 4-goal lead, kicking with the wind, Rhodesy.
Yeah, spot on there, Chip. It's Beenleigh's foot skills let them down a fair bit. They've actually managed to get it out across sort of half back, but have just turned it over, and, you know, not easy turnovers do. They've hit them lace out, to be honest. So big hit there from Sean Good on Haynes. Free kick goes the way of Haynes, who will have a shot almost. No, he's looking inboard. And he's going to have a shot now, Danny.
Yes, he is.
Three-quarter time.
Certainly is.
Siren sounds. He's not the biggest kick of the footy. He's into the wind here. Could we tip a barrel?
Oh, no. This will be a drop punt, mate. Won't it, surely? How do you know he's not a big kick, Rose? You're just guessing, mate. He might be mercurial. He's a little pocket rocket. Look at those legs on him.
Yeah, he's punched it, and it's sat up and sat well short, so why not be far away from the barrel there, Chip?
Yeah, fair enough.
As we head into three-quarter time with Beenleigh still trailing, managed to kick a couple of goals there, 3 goals, 3 in that quarter to Coorparoo's 3 points. Beenleigh obviously chasing 5 goals, 13-43 to Coorparoo's 10 goals, 7-67. Coorparoo with a 4-goal lead heading into the fourth quarter, and with the wind as well. Obviously those stats up against Beenleigh, no doubt.
Oh, no doubt about it. They look, Beenleigh are giving themselves a sniff. That's all you can ask when you're trailing by 7 goals in a grand final. You're kicking with the wind in the third. They kicked 3-3. It probably needed to be 5-1. They needed to be 2 goals closer and 2 goals down and all the rest of it. So they're kicking. 5-13 is not a good scoreline, let's be honest, versus 10-7. They've had 18 scoring shots to Coorparoo's 17. The game's pretty evenly poised, but yet they trail by 24 points. The coaches go into the huddle three-quarter time. These are the greatest huddles. I love these three-quarter time speeches on grand final day, Rhodesy, particularly when it's close, because this is where dreams are made and coaches look for every bit of inspiration to get their teams over the line, and the players and supporters here today are here. But from 24 points down, kicking into a strong bees at Leyshon Park, the Beenleigh Buffs have got their work cut out for them. We'll see you after the break, folks, and let's hope we can finish with an exciting finish to the AFL Div 1 Grand Final. Well, I think that's a welcome back, folks. The microphones are back on. Here we are at Leyshon Park for the last quarter of the Div 1 Grand Final, AFLQ HART Sports Grand Final. I'm Danny Craven. You're with me and Josh Rhodes, the AFLQ Division 1 competition manager, footballer, Morningside Friday night footballer extraordinaire, ex-Melbourne Victorian superstar. I don't know the rest of his history, but Rhodesy, we're in for an exciting last quarter, albeit Coorparoo with a 4-goal buffer.
Absolutely, we are, Chip, and couldn't ask for better company up here in the box. So, a couple of big cheer there from the Coorparoo huddle, as they'll no doubt be buoyed by the reserves crowd with their, as we've alluded to, with their medals around their necks already. But yeah, some pretty promising signs from Beenleigh in that quarter. But obviously, 4-goal buff is pretty big ask. But let's see how they'll resound. So
well, the wind is slightly died down, I think, and they're going to meet a monumental quarter to win a premiership from here. But you never know. Brodie Murdoch's going to be one that's going to have to probably kick 2 or 3, and here he is right now, off to Ryan Burney, another player who's capable of breaking a game open. Drives it inside 50. They're going to need some early luck in the running, you'd think, as it comes out. Christian Lamb, who's been pretty solid for Coorparoo this afternoon. The umpires paid that against him on that occasion for perhaps dropping the ball. Bit stiff, I thought, but
beautiful tackle, I think, Chip.
Was it? There you go. Yeah. Well, you're looking after the boys out there. Good to see, Rhodesy. As the boys in green, I'm talking about, as goes long up onto the wing, and no one could quite take it over the back. Here we go. Coorparoo's got it. Nice little kick there. Forward, looking for Jake Edwards. He can't quite take it. Young Stibbard, who's kicked 3 in that crucial second quarter. He's been good this afternoon, as it comes out now to Morgan onto a Lucas Bell, cross half back. Doesn't quite hit his teammate in Dom McEwen, who had a ripping third quarter, did Dom McEwen. Haven't seen much of him. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen him play, Rhodesy, to be honest, mate. I think might have seen him briefly in the second semi-final, and that was my first main look at Beenleigh, but he was very good. And it's going to be cross half forward. Fair to say, Coorparoo kicks 1 or 2 goals at any point, it's game over, because no one's kicked more than a couple of goals up into that windy end all day, Rhodesy, certainly in the reserves and this game. So
yeah, especially given if they get it early, it has a potential to
open up.
Correct, and the Beenleigh players to drop their heads, knowing the inevitable if it does go that way. As Benny Hogan playing a little bit of soccer tricks up on the wing. Does well to earn his space right in front of the home crowd there, but well tackled over the wing. Throw it in, says the umpire. Fantastic. I think it was actually really good work there by Beenleigh to get back into that, because it was realistically 2v1. He's done well to bounce back and to chase it down and to hold on once more to give the Buffaloes another go at it. As we watch another ruck duel between Stratford and Reid. Reid getting the edge over around the ground, I believe, but been pretty 50-50 in the ruck contest, as Reid taps it down to Dean Gavin, who kicks it over his shoulder, looking at Suckling, who's well held again. There's number 16 in Lucas Bell, who's been pretty quiet but does well to use Murdoch through centre half back. Beautiful left foot kick of the footy, goes wide to Zingelman, a bit of a juggle mark, but a mark nonetheless. Manning up on Shale Coranda, both love the open paddock and a beautiful run. Looks to bounce up to Aiden Duncan, who again's going onto that wing and linking up through as he goes one way, goes the next, and goes backwards to Zingelman.
So the Zingerberger with the ball on the wing. He's had plenty of footy this afternoon, been a good player for the Beenleigh Buffaloes. Can't find his teammate there in Morgan. Across to the other, Morgan in Daniel. Out to Braden Eddy. He's been pretty consistent all afternoon. What can he do with this one? Inside 50, looking for a teammate there. On that occasion, Callum Eddy, but he was caught behind his direct opponent. For Coorparoo, and it might have been, it was Sam Holner, who's playing on a smaller type, but he's been very good defensively all year, Sam Holner, and won that one comfortably then. Kicks it out to Sam Hickey, the left-footed youngster for Coorparoo, kicks it inside here, 15 metres. Dylan Reid can't quite catch it. Important here for Beenleigh if they can come out with it. And Reid gives away a free kick to his direct opponent there in James for Beenleigh. And he's going to kick from 60 out. The umpire is making sure he gets in an absolute direct line with the goal there, Rhodesy. They get very fussy on that stuff, don't they, at times? So Jamesy goes, bang. It's a bit of an up and under with the wind grabbing hold of it. Looked like a grab there to Callum Eddy.
Man in front there to Cal Eddy.
Looked like I think it's might be Rory Lake protesting that he had some hands on that football. But the umpires having none of it. And Callum is going to have a shot. He's going to have to kick this every bit of 48 metres, you'd think, into a fairly stiff breeze. So he is an excellent kick of the football, and he's generally a pretty good, accurate kick. But this is going to take his best effort, you'd think, Rhodes, as he comes in. Kicks now, maybe from 47. It's a nice-looking kick, flipping across the front of the goal there, and it's just behind Beenleigh, 5 goals, 14, trailing Coorparoo 10-7. Coorparoo with just the 3 behind since their heroics in the second quarter so far. We're 4 minutes 50 into this last quarter, and no one has given up any goals just yet, Raji.
There's Dean Gavin has been a solid contributor. He goes short to Holner, co-captain on the half-back line. Bit of direction there from the Kings, and some accurate kicking as he goes long down the line to your boy Stibbard, who's got his name on a few, and he'll be in the paper, no doubt. But the counter-attack here from Coorparoo with a beautiful mark, running back by Jeremy Hurst, but looking to give it off in a short one. Good contest there by Beenleigh, outnumbered, but keeps his feet is Isaac Lynch. Ooh. And has a shot around the corner with a fair bit of pressure there, but pulled close to that side was Rory Lake for just a minor score for Coorparoo, taking it to 10-8, 68, leading Beenleigh 5-14, 44. So Beenleigh using the short option here, with going into the wind, which has probably been the preferable and the more successful option of the two this game. But a kick from Coomis going wide down that far side sees it piddle over the line for a boundary throw-in.
It's definitely hard going into that breeze to really pinpoint your kicks and do it 4 or 5 times in a row like you have to do into the breeze. Unfortunately, you just can't get there with 1 or 2 kicks. So Beenleigh are going to have to really produce some sort of running, handballing feat like we've never seen before, Rogie. Maybe the 1970 grand final when Carlton came from 44 points down at half time to beat the mighty Pies. People, I was hardly born then myself, mate, but I do believe that the big Ron Barassi called for handball, and that's what they did. And I reckon that's sort of similar mantra for Beenleigh. Right now, they're just going to have to run, and somehow run it in the wind. But at the moment, it's in Coorparoo's half as they come forward here. Beenleigh tackling, and more times eaten up. And Coorparoo will be very happy having it camped in that little part of the ground at the moment. As it goes up, no one quite can take it. Out comes Campbell Lewis. Beautiful work. Smothered across the line, though. And we've got that. We're not into junk time quite, Rhodesy, but certainly we're not getting a lot of penetration in the last 2 or 3 minutes over in that flank.
Still plenty of footy to be played, and both sides have done spectacularly well to keep it to that left forward 50. Keep it obviously getting past halfway, as a big punch there by Reid looks to go into that open space. And it's whoever keeps their feet succeeds here, as the Buffs go through the middle using Bray Eddy, their captain, going wide again to Josh James, who's pushed up the ground to help out his teammates and to give them a bit of drive through Brodie Murdoch with a handball receive. Beautiful left foot kick to a leading forward is the other Eddie Cal, but well spoiled by Coorparoo, and it's pushed out to the far wing, and those runners there again of Coranda and Zingelman. Zingelman with a tackle, he's paid holding the ball against Coranda. They've had it's been a good battle between those two. They've played on each other for most of the day. Both love run and carry, both love a bounce. Bit of a mismatch though, one's short, one's tall, but it's been a fantastic battle watching those two unfold. As Zingelman went long into the 50 and a bit of a turnover there, unfortunately, but Coorparoo go long up the wing, once again looking for Edwards, who can't clunk it, but does well to crumb it down and get Gavin, who's hacked it forward and has done so pretty much all day. Bit of a juggle there from Clark. And another smother there from Coorparoo. They've had plenty of smothers and plenty of desperation there from Coorparoo, which is, fantastic considering they're 4 goals up.
Yeah, well, look, they're fighting for the Premiership Cup. They haven't won one since 2016. Coorparoo, of course. And as Bernie grabs the football, drives it inside 50, they need some goals from these entries. Braden Eddy pushed as he kicked it, but fortuitously ends up in a teammate's arms, and that teammate there is Cooper Lang. And he's been okay today, had it a couple of times and done a couple of nice things. But, gee, I don't think he's had too many more important kicks in his time at Beenleigh Buffaloes than this one, Rhodesy. They trail by 4 goals. We're 9 minutes into the last quarter. They're kicking into a breeze. So's he. As he comes in now, he'll kick from 35 from a sort of standing start. It's not a bad looking attempt, and just swings across the face at the end there. Looked like it was in from where we stood, and probably from the live stream vision, it probably looked like it was almost in, but it's a behind, and they've kicked a couple this quarter, and they need goals. As they've been doing all afternoon, it's their 15th. They go to 5, 15, 45. It's just too many points. You can't win premierships if you're not splitting the big sticks. And Coorparoo would be very happy with that, as Ben Hagen, as he's done all afternoon. He's had a good afternoon, Ben Hagen, one of the better players for Coorparoo. Drives it long into the arms of big George James. And James and Stratford have both been solid, but Dylan Reid, for mine, probably takes the points over the two of those guys for Coorparoo, as Josh Lake takes the mark, but it's a Buffalo free kick.
Holding against Josh James there looked like Sam Polner, or was it Lake that took the mark there? But yeah, one of his giving the free kick away, unfortunately. So
now he's a good kick.
Yeah, he's great kick, but geez,
it's a long way.
Yeah, and they get another opportunity at this. He's really going to have to hit this, as he kicks it well.
Pulled it.
And has overcompensated. That's obviously the last 2 shots there, one to the far side and one to the close one for the Buffs. Taking it into 5 goals, 16. So not without their chances, the Buffaloes.
Talk about inches, games of inches. Like if they kick 1, 2, if not one of those 3 shots they've had, they'd be 2 goals down. And you're in a grand final, and they got a little bit of momentum. You've got a different game of footy, haven't you? But they're 4 goals down, and we're only talking about what ifs and maybes at the moment, unfortunately for them, as we see so often in AFL football at the highest level and community footy. If you're inaccurate, you can't win games of footy, particularly grand finals. So that's the tail of the tape at the moment. There's a ball back out in the wing. 11 minutes into this last quarter. You can sort of sense in the commentary, but we want a game of it, Rosie, don't we, really?
Absolutely.
I mean, Coorparoo have deserved their lead to this point, but we'd love to see just a bit of closeness come in and a bit of desperation come in that's not already there, as you do on days like today. But
it's never too late in finals either. You know, the scoreline was exactly the same as it was in the prelim final last week, 4 goals. Coorparoo were down by 4 goals against Caloundra, and Coorparoo, as they clearly are out here now, obviously came back and chased them down. So it can be done, and as you said, mate, if they kick those, if Beenleigh had kicked, 1 or 2, or even one of those 3 shots that they've had this quarter, it'd be a whole different story. But they've done very, very well to stem the influence of the wind for Coorparoo. I think the last few minutes, 5 minutes or so, it's sort of been in Beenleigh's half, and I think desperation is starting to kick in from a few different players.
Well, especially if you compare it to the second quarter, Rogie, there's no doubt about that, mate, because they kicked 8 with the wind, as you know, to win essentially set up the premiership opportunity that they're currently experiencing. As they go forward again here into the goal square, Fletcher Gay Brown can't quite gather that one, as he's led to it by Morgan. One of the Morgan brothers goes wide, looking for Braden Eddy. Braden Eddy comes up with the football. Another player, again, he'd be in the better half, a better few for Beenleigh today. Been very consistent as Braden Eddy. Goes long, but it's a drop short, not a great kick. As Dane Watmuff, the former Labrador QFL player, very good defender at this level particularly, kicks it long as he goes inside looking for one of his forwards. There's Josh Ferguson, I think, on the left foot, snaps across the body and out of bounds, in fact, it goes out. And you were saying, Rhodesy, last week you were there, I missed the game, but Coorparoo, of course, they weren't playing today halfway through the last quarter, were they? They were 4 goals down, and Caloundra were going to probably play Beenleigh in the grand final in 2022, and they took it away from them at home.
Absolutely. They were instrumental. Caloundra were all over Coorparoo last week. Is a free kick paid, or no, a throw in? Boundary umpire gets another go at that. So But yeah, Caloundra just killed him through the midfield for 3 quarters last week, and Coorparoo managed to get on the outside and spread the Caloundra's runners a little bit too thin in that 4th quarter. Jake Edwards had a massive game and kicked I think 3 or 4 goals in the last to steady him home. But yeah, that just goes to show, mate, finals footy, it's a whole different beast. You can never count anyone out for too long, as the clock still ticks over. It's nearly 14 and a half minutes gone, and another repeat stoppage in Coorparoo's forward line.
Yeah, 14 minutes to go, folks. Those watching the live stream, it's been a willing battle. Not much between the two sides, apart from the accuracy of goals, as Daniel Haynes comes through for Coorparoo. The little pocket rocket has smashed it through the big sticks.
Fantastic goal there by Haynes, and had a really awesome 3rd quarter then. He's kicked that goal over his shoulder, run straight over to the Beenleigh supporters and given them a fist pump. So you love to see a bit of a crowd favourite here. The reserves have been getting around him all day, and he loves it, the little fella, as he gives them a signal, and they give him a cheer as he jogs off for a much-needed rest.
Yes, what a great little finish from young Hainesy, and 15 minutes, and we've been sort of waxing lyrical because there's been no goal scored all quarter, and of course the one that needed to be scored to keep the game a bit closer was scored by the wrong jersey, and that was Coorparoo for Beenleigh Buff supporters, unfortunately. And almost, you'd say, if you're looking for a nail in any coffins, a 5-goal lead now with 15 minutes in, as Beenleigh charge after footy. Aidan Duncan can't pick it up. Casey looks for the football, can't take it. Big George James, he's wrapped up in a tackle by Hurst, and in fact it's a holding the ball decision, probably a bit stiff, be fair to say. I don't know if he had prior opportunity. It doesn't really matter at the moment because the umpire says, Hursty, it's all yours, mate, as he drives inside 50, looking for a teammate there in Jake Edwards, and the gates opened up, and Jake Edwards takes a mark directly in front of the old scoreboard that's not quite working properly, the Johnny Pearce scoreboard with the greatest time clock in QFL history, 16:15. If you're watching the screen at the moment, you can see it ticking away. The scoreboard, of course, shows a 5-goal deficit to Beenleigh, and if Jake Edwards kicks this, you'd just about have to say, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I don't like count my chickens, Chip, but I dare say it's a bridge too far if he puts this one through. And pulls it to the close side. Boundary umpire getting a fair workout with the 1-point signal. That one flag getting a fair workout also, with Coorparoo kicking their 10th point of the day. Takes it to an even 5-goal, 30-point difference.
So, Rhodesy, if we don't quite say the fat lady singing per se, but if we just assume that unless Beenleigh can kick a goal in the next couple of minutes, the game may well be drawing to its conclusion. But just let's reflect on Beenleigh's season. They've had a great year. They've only been in Div 1
3 seasons.
Yeah, last 3 years. And prior to that, they hadn't had a lot of success in the lower divisions. Won their last flag in 2009 in the old Squaffer Div 3. And, they've always been a good, proud little club with good juniors, but haven't played a great level of footy. In fact, went up to Div 1 3 years ago without having won a premiership in Div 2 for starters. But had a good system and a good culture and all that, and that's why they come up. They've been very competitive ever since then, and this year been really good. And as Coorparoo takes the mark, Matty Suckling, it is too. But they been a terrific effort in the second semi-final. Gee, they played some champagne footy and just were all over Coorparoo that day by 6 or 7 or 7 or 8 goals. I think they won by in the end at their home ground, and to make the grand final, you could argue it was. They shot their weapon a bit early on that occasion because Coorparoo were making them pay today. But it was a great effort, and a great effort regardless of just to make the grand final this year and put in the efforts they have as a club. As Suckling just does that little traditional little left foot poke, hits the post. It's another point to Coorparoo, and they go to 11. I can't even read that scoreboard there, Rosie. 11-10, is it?
11-11.
11-11.
Coorparoo 77 to Beenleigh's 5-16-46.
5-16-46. So, yeah, Beenleigh, it's been just just take your hat off to the club and what they've been able to do to for the likes of
as Rory Lake takes the thing. It's getting into a bit of junk time. I better get this over with quick, Rose, just as an acknowledgement to Beenleigh. The coach, Damien Eddy's been terrific, and Greg Krieger, Kiwi, and Cam James, who's taken the club through many years. Steve Purdy, assistant coach, and Simon Gooden, the reserves, etc. They've done a fantastic job down there, and a real credit to them. But today has not been their day, mate.
No.
And as I hand over Rory Lake to you.
Yeah, so this will be quite fitting if he sends this one, and as he does, he's a beautiful kick of the footy, but he's pulled it a bit close for a point. But yeah, to back up what you've said, Danny, they run a fantastic program down at Beenleigh. Only been in Division 1 for a couple of years, and were a bit of the whipping boys as they when they came up, as a lot of clubs sometimes are. So I've made a grand final only a couple of years later after getting some pretty bad scores kicked against them. It's a massive testament to the coaching group and all the volunteers down there at Beenleigh to turn the Buffaloes around and create a really good culture and a really good place to be. And no doubt they'll be thereabouts next year, irrespective of obviously how today pans out.
Yeah, and the world record for brothers too, mate, with the Eddies and the Duncans and the Goods and of course the Morgans and co. I've never seen such a collection of brothers. But anyway, nevertheless, we're 20 minutes in. I think Coorparoo are going to salute the judge, you'd think, and what's been a really good battle, a game that was won in the second quarter with 8 goals, 4 to pretty much nothing. And let's spend the next 5 or 10 minutes as we call this game, Rhodesy, but pay homage to the Coorparoo Kings, because it is their time to shine, no doubt about it. As Don McEwen takes a mark across half-back, we'll do a little bit of commentary as well as it comes across half-back here, looking for his teammate there in Lucas Bell. But young Ferguson snaps it across the right body. He's done okay this afternoon, played his part for Coorparoo, and it's another behind to them.
Been all Coorparoo here. It's I think everyone's starting to lick their lips, and once they get their name up in the scoreboard, no doubt they'll rewatch the match either tomorrow or Monday, and everyone wants to kick a goal late so they can get up and celebrate amongst the crowd. But it's been a bit of a tough battle the sort of last 5 minutes for Beenleigh as they look to go out that far side once more. Murdoch's actually sort of coming into his own a little bit across the half-back line, has helped them steer him a little bit, but just can't get past that halfway point as Coorparoo once more take an intercept mark. Big long one going forward to Rory Lake, bit of a fan favourite here, fair cheers for him as every time he touches the football and looks low to Fletcher Gay Brown, the young fella from Morningside.
So Fletcher Gay Brown's also, he's actually the son of Marvin Gay, who played at Mount Gravatt, and Paul Gay, not Marvin Gaye the singer, but Paul Gay. I played in the premiership with Paul Gay back in the day, and this is his young bloke coming through the system, and great to see him part of a premiership at such an early age. Only 17, I think he's turning 18 next week, someone told me, and along with Oliver Arkley, who's the wingman, also the 2 youngest players on the ground, and they've got a great junior program down at Coorparoo, and there's 2 great signs of it. It's smothered beautifully there from Coorparoo in the thing, and in fact it's a free kick paid. No, it's gone to the Buffs there. So the 2 young kids have been great, and whilst Coorparoo's probably average age is, they've got a few veterans out there too, and recruits. They do have some great juniors, like we spoke about, and youthful players playing their part today in the club. As the crowd roars Rory Lake as he comes off the ground in front of the coach's box, and he's exhausted and
comes off for the last time.
But he's elated. He's exhausted, but he's elated. Possibly his last game of footy in Queensland for the beloved Coorparoo. He's won 4 flags already at 4 different clubs. In fact, just the one with Coorparoo in 2016, but he has played won flags with other clubs down south and Melton, and he's won 1 at Mount Gravatt, he's won 1 at Morningside, and this will be his second at Coorparoo, with a couple of his brothers, Sam coaching, and Josh Lake, of course, as well, who's played in 4 Coorparoo flags. Has punched away Dylan Reid beautifully. Shea almost onto it. This is comes out through Suckling. Kicked there by Beenleigh nicely, but Ben Hogan wraps up. Gee, Ben Hogan, is he in the votes today? Oh, he's had plenty of the footy. He's got to be in the discussion point, doesn't he? As Arkley on the wing comes away at the young 17-year-old, falls over his own legs by without anyone touching him. And but he's got the free kick. Zingelman unfortunately grabbed him a bit high. Comes out to Lynch.
Yep.
Lynch now. They're all lining up for a bit of junk time, Rhodesy, just as we are in the box here. It comes out to Casey on that far wing.
And looking for a bit of clean entry as they're not afraid to go sideways as they're, like you said, burning that clock down. And a beautiful hit there to Lewis, co-captain, who's had a fair bit of the footy this second half. Big long one down to Stibbard by the looks of it. Beautiful handball out the back to Shale Coranda, the Ferrari as he likes to be called. A bit of flash and a bit of spirit there for Shale to kick his third. And I don't know if you can hear that, Danny, but I think the fat lady, she's singing.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of singing going right in front. Of course, we're right under the Coorparoo Kings box, and the players are coming off, and there's some elation. And one of the great things about grand finals, Rhodesy, I'm not sure how many you've been involved with, mate, but they are a wonderful thing. They're the completion of a long, hard year from pre-season through the grind of the year itself, the finals, and in Coorparoo's case, a few weeks ago, they were down and out. They got beaten the second semi-final by 8 goals by this team they're beating today. And, we're 4 goals down last week in the prelim at home to Caloundra. Maybe weren't even going to make it today. And here they are, turned that 8-goal deficit around. They now lead by 6 in the final moments of the grand final. So there's some elation, as you can appreciably understand, under our box here right now. As the ball comes back, Sammy Holner, been good on Calamity for most of the afternoon, drives it up on the wing. Young Stibbard comes off the ground. He's just kicked 3 goals in that premiership quarter, the second quarter.
Changing of the guard there as Rory Lake runs back down to, once again, a big round of applause from the bench. Big round of applause from the supporters there as Lakey looks to be steaming forward. I'm not going to count my chickens there, Danny, but I dare say they're going to try and get him a sausage roll to sort of cap off the day, cap off a beautiful, successful career for the Kings, for Rory Lake. As once more we have a boundary throw-in on that far wing.
Rhodesy, I was here 2016 when they won the last flag. They beat Springwood, and that was back in the there was a Div 1 South Side comp and a Div 1 North Side comp, and Coorparoo and Springwood, I think Springwood won 3 in a row, in fact, prior to that. And then Coorparoo played them, and they were underdogs that day. And the 4 Lake brothers all played in that team. And I think they only won by less than a kick. It was a really remarkable grand final premiership for them. And I felt a bit privileged to be there and watch that, having sort of played against and with and some of those guys, and today to be part of it again, I feel privileged again, just watching young Rory and co going about their business in what's a great moment for Coorparoo and all that crew and the Lake crew, and it is just, again, you can't see what's underneath us here, but it's a special moment.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And as you touched on, mate, unfortunately I've never been there in grand final day. I've played in 3 losing prelims, which is quite a tough battle. So it just goes to show you, the understandable elation of players, whether it be their first grand final or their 4th. It's just so hard to come by. And sides can, they can come in and out. And as we look at it with Division 1 this year, it's been so even. And even our premiers, our reigning premiers, still currently reigning premiers, the Springwood Pumas, just pushed out of finals, didn't even make it. So it just goes to show that, they don't come easy, and they're hard fought as Coorparoo have fought hard to get it back now. As it falls back into their forward 50, and Shale Coranda, beautiful pick up there, looks to go backward to Suckling with that dangerous left foot kick over his shoulder. If you don't mind, umpire, thanks for coming, Matthew Suckling, one of the recruits of the year for the Coorparoo Kings, has kicked a magnificent goal over that dangerous left foot, which Hawthorn fans and Western Bulldogs fans for many, many years brought great joy as he wheeled around on that left. So that takes it out to 5 goals, 16-46 for Beenleigh. And Coorparoo 13-13-91. Starting to get a bit out of hand here as a 45-point buffer. And
just a fitting moment again. Matt Suckling's been at the club for 5 minutes, but he's a legend AFL player, nevertheless, in his own right, and hasn't had the best of afternoons necessarily, and probably a player they might have thought they'd have to rely on. But here he is in junk time at Yeronga Leyshon Oval, banging one through, and only he could have kicked that on his left from that angle. So, just terrific moments for him. Josh Lake now battling away with Braden Eddy. We spoke about Braden Eddy, one of the 3 Eddy brothers. He's had we said a nice afternoon along with Zingelman with the helmet. Probably two of their better players, to be fair. Goes inside 50 and finds Josh James on the chest. As the siren goes at Yeronga Leyshon Park, and the Div 1 Grand Final 2022 won by Coorparoo Kings 13-13-91 have beaten Beenleigh Buffs. Well, we don't know exactly.
Currently 5-16-46 with Josh James to have a shot after the siren. Pulls a kick. He's a beautiful shot for goal, and he can hold his head pretty high. He's been quite good today, Josh, and he's taking his chances. A goal for Josh. Not that there's percentage in grand finals, Chipper, but he's saved a bit of percentage there. As we look at Coorparoo get around the 2022 QFA Division 1 HART Sport Cup Premiers, the Coorparoo Kings. As a massive day for Coorparoo as they go premiers in the reserves and premiers in the seniors.
Well, they did, and it just, to be honest, it makes it a little bit more special if your twos can win in the same year as the ones. You know, one wins, one loses. It's not quite the same, Rhodesy, and whilst you, as you said, you haven't had an opportunity to experience that, it from a club point of view, for both to get up, and Coorparoo twos did win this afternoon earlier by a couple of goals in a close taught fussle with the main Tigers, but they were the best team all year at that level, and certainly they finished on top senior level as well. Went through their drama in the, as we spoke about in the final series, got beaten the second semi by 8 goals, and have come back and reversed the result against Beenleigh today in what's been a wonderful victory by 39 points, 13-13-91 to 6-16-52. 22 scoring shots to 26, and you know, Beenleigh had their chances. We've spoken about them. Let's keep talking about Coorparoo, Rhodesy, as we wind up what's been a wonderful day. Can we acknowledge Coorparoo, some of the people? Sam Haddad, the president, for the past 25 years, runs a ripper club down there. Everyone knows him. Everyone respects what he's been able to do at that football club through their highs and lows. Haven't had a lot of lows, it's got to be said. But this is only their second premiership in recent times after 2016, and they've won it in both grades. So
yeah,
wonderful thing there.
Absolutely, and you know, they've they're held to a high regard across QFA football and Quaffle football as well, given the women participate in the Quaffle W, the Bond Uni Quaffle W. So, and like you said, mate, it's the hard work that goes into Coorparoo. Really, really good junior program. And yeah, just well respected as a club and well rounded as a club, and it's just the cherry on top for them to be able to go in the resis and the seniors, and as you say, mate, to be able to go back to the club together and celebrate, you know, rather than one celebrating the other one have commiserations. So.
It's absolutely a massive difference, Rhodesy. To Sam Lake, 32 years old, he's his first year as senior coach and as a co-coach. Congratulations to him. What a wonderful moment there. He's 1 from 1, Sam, and my advice to you, mate, is if you want to think about retiring any time soon, do it next week, because you'll be 1 from 1, and I'll never take that away from you, mate. He has won 3 flags across the journey, coached the twos to a flag last year as well. And, of course, Barry O'Brien, 42 years of age. He's the other co-coach. He was the standalone coach last year and perhaps the year before that. He's been everywhere. He's an everywhere man. He's coached, played at Grange and Caloundra and Main Tigers. In fact, Wangaratta Rovers back in my old neck of the woods, Rhodesy. He's been everywhere and a journeyman, but, you know, he's always loved his football, and a great moment for him as well as a co-coach with Sam. And Sam Virgo, just the assistant. Sam Virgo, of course, is a coaching coordinator. She plays AFL with the big girls. Yep. So at the Brisbane Lions, been a fantastic player for them. She's one of the line coaches, along with Jake Edwards, who played today and kicked his couple of goals. I'm pretty sure Jake Edwards, let me have a look. Kicked his two goals in the second quarter, along with Dan Arklay, the other coach, the father of the young 17-year-old Arklay, Ollie Arklay. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So to you folks, congratulations, well done. To the history of the Treasury Kings as they were, and now the Coorparoo Kings. It's been a wonderful journey for you, and we wish everyone well associated with the club. In terms of players today, Rhodesy, just a quick wrap up on who your better players were, perhaps for Coorparoo. And Buffs, off the cuff, mate. Who do you have there?
Oh, it's it was even contributors across both teams. To be honest, I think Dean Gavin was fantastic. The older heads were really, really good for Coorparoo. I think Dean Gavin was fantastic. Rory Lake stood up when it counted. And then obviously the young brigade. You know, you had Stibbard's quarter there where he went a bit crazy. Coranda was good late. Benny Hogan was instrumental with setting up the play across the half back line. So very even performance there by Coorparoo. For the Buffs, again, not their day, but again, not disgraced. Cal Eddy, Deck Eddy, obviously the brothers there have been fantastic. Brodie Murdoch was okay in the last quarter. Obviously had that head knock early and a little bit of concern from both the Beenleigh bench and the commentary box, but it was awesome to see him get back up there and run out the game. It was very good. And of course the defenders in Kumis across that half back line, and you know, our boys Ingleman and the helmet out on that far wing was pretty exciting. So they can hold their head pretty high, but you know, for the most part it was a group, like I said, a group effort on both sides. Even big Joshy James took his chances when he had the opportunity. So how did you see him, Chip?
Yeah, mate. Rhodesy, I'm going to let us just run with your opinion there, mate. I think you covered most of the bases. I think we've called it throughout the afternoon. We thank you, everyone out there that's enjoyed this live stream this afternoon in nice sunshine to finish. It's got to be said, what looked like a very dismal day at the start. A great win to the Coorparoo Kings by 39 points this afternoon. Commiserations to Beenleigh, who are a gallant loser today and have had a great season. To you, Josh Rhodes, it's been great to call with you, mate. I've enjoyed it. Great to see you make your grand final debut today, mate, in terms of the commentary side of things, and to young Connor as well. Thanks for looking after us on the camera side of things. And to you folks out there, thanks for joining us on the AFLQ Div 1 Grand Final side of things. And who's the crowd that we're commentating through today?
Double Take.
The Double Take crew have been fantastic all year. It's a new initiative, and we've got stats and everything going on. Queensland footy's alive and well, folks. Thanks for joining in. We'll see you next year.
Thanks, Danny.
each of our umpires with a medal. We'll start off with our field umpires. Thomas Gordon, Colin Knight, and Trevor Donahue. Boundary umpires, Alex Holmes and Joshua Watson. Our goalies, David Wheeler and Michael Green. Our emergency, Jamie Knight. And our third scorer, Benjamin Bright. Please put your hands together for our umpires. I'll now invite Jonathan Lawson to come forward and present the best on ground medal. We had a panel of selectors along with our umpires, and it was a unanimous decision that the best on ground player from the Coorparoo Footy Club, number 18, Dylan Reed. Reading your say words over there, Mike.
Firstly, thanks for being late. It was a tough game. It was right to the end. We got those last couple of goals. It's been a tough year for me. I haven't played seniors most of the year, and the coaching staff have showed faith in me for the last couple of weeks. I'm just glad I can reward you on a day like today. And the boys, how good.
Congratulations to the John Morgan, ladies and gentlemen, for this on ground medal in the big show. As I said, a terrific effort from Coorparoo, from Beenleigh. It's not surprising the way they're led under their coach, Damien Eddy. And Damien, I'll ask you to come forward and say a few words on behalf of your team. Damien Eddy. Thanks, Baz. What do I say? Coorparoo, awesome, fantastic, all day. Watched you last week, the comeback was great, thought you were gone. Tell our boys we didn't give up and we have a crack, but geez, you didn't either. Impressive, really impressive. As a club, we talked about it, it's probably where we want to be. We look at Coorparoo, we look at these stronger clubs, and we're after you, and we're coming. And I'm sure you'll like that too. Sammy, Baz, fantastic. Been great all year. Thanks, boys. The medal. My boys, I don't need to say much about them. They know what I think. Fantastic group. Wonderful people, as we say. We have talent, etc., but they're just good people. Great blokes. Do anything for each other. They certainly make me proud. Yeah, maybe we're a little bit ahead of time, but geez, we're going to have a crack at it, won't we? We'll get one. Bit of a fight back, got to kick a bit straighter. Early would have been nice. Put some pressure on. Anyway, thanks everyone. Congrats to our group, club, supporters, family, brothers, sisters, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Damien. Before we get into our grand final presentation, I'd like to take this opportunity to firstly thank the Yarrumba Football Club for hosting today. Also to all of our staff who do a power of work behind the scenes to make things happen. I go over and above, really proud of the group we've got. I'd also like to thank the man to my left,
Sam